Are we starting?
Oh, we're starting.
Oh, we're started? I think we're live.
Pretty sure we're live now.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of both genders. This is Forbidden Frontier. And tonight, we've got a nice creepy topic for you. One of the creepiest. Not really sure where it's going. For a long time, Missing 411 wouldn't even tell you what like his conclusions were. He just presented you with a lot of questions. It's David. I'm always going to say his last name wrong. Paulides.
Paulides.
I want to say the Paulides, but it's Paulides.
Well, that's the Pleiades.
Paulides. I hear that a lot. David Paulides.
I think we can go on
Paulides.
camera now.
He says his name in the beginning of the movie. So I heard it.
Hello.
Hey.
I heard it too.
Yeah.
I've been just watching.
One in and out. Boom.
Oh,
gone.
Dude.
David Paulides. That's how I hear it most of the time.
We'll just go with that. Paulides.
If you're listening to us on Spotify or
Sorry,
iTunes
David.
or Audible, we record these live on Nerdrotic Live at 5:30-ish p.m. Central Standard Time. And we have a chat who joins us, and we refer to them often. We've got Bubba Doom here. We got Just Another Red Shirt. We got Tim F. We got Selwyn. We got Arden Crate and Nalb. Eric K. What's up, Eric K? Nice puppy. Eric got a cute little puppy. He showed us all. Maybe he'll share it on Twitter. It's very cute. Ham Squatch. All right. Brad Young, welcome. Chad D, Tim P, Sentinel Rex. Welcome, everyone. Chad D.
You know, I saw the Bigfoot in the thumbnail, and I gotta say, my mom was just here. She just left, and she got me a Christmas gift. And she got me this hat. Can I get the full screen real quick?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Absolutely. That is
it's
that hat is dope. That hat is
says
dope.
Wood Booger on it.
Wood Booger.
Is that not amazing?
That's going to be the name of our band when we form a band.
The first episode back, I see Sasquatch. I'm like, oh hell yeah.
Yep. There's a saucer in there too. There's a saucer in the background too.
Is there?
Yeah. No, not in that. On the thumbnail. Oh, I'll bring it back up.
Okay.
So wait. Put it on my saucer. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Look,
there you go.
Boom. There's a little saucer in the background. Can't
right
tell.
there.
What is it? Question mark.
I see it. Missing 411. Where'd they go?
What is
Where'd
it?
they go? Was it Bigfoot?
What's
The
going
UFOs?
on? We don't know.
Aliens?
The world doesn't know.
Alternate dimensions? Your mama? I don't know. We'll find out.
Was it big cats in the woods just dragging people away?
Wood
I'll tell you
Booger,
what.
our first
I've got a lot of
world
questions.
tour as Wood Booger will start in 2025. Yeah, it's our it's all alternative band. We're all going to play banjos and cover Pink Floyd songs.
Nice.
Wood Booger.
Yeah,
that's right.
I want the bass. I want the washtub bass.
Washtub bass. There you go.
Just the one string.
Yeah.
I want the no string guitar. Very difficult to play.
No string guitar?
Yeah. Oh, you never heard of it? Nah.
Who's playing the skin flute?
What is a skin flute? I don't know.
Just maybe you should just moving on.
Moving on.
Anyway,
we're going to introduce everybody and talk about our topic tonight. Okay, so we listen and believe our audience. Okay, so when it comes to the audience, we listen and believe most of the time. And you guys wanted this thing called structure. I'm using air quotes. Focus. And
who says
structure.
That? Did they really say that?
Well, yes, and it's not something I'm really big on.
Focus.
But for this show, we are going to do it because we listen to you.
Wait, hold on.
I agree. I agree with the chat.
Let me get this straight. Are we going to actually go start the show on time? And maybe
let's not get.
Hey, whoa, hey, dude. All right, baby steps here.
Yeah. Progress, not perfection. That's
yeah
my motto. What did I just?
Okay.
We're not talking about impossibilities here.
We're not. But we are. We're going to bring guests on. We're working on guests. We're going to work on structure. We're going to work on one topic per show. Ancient civilizations will be like the main thing. We'll get back to that. We might skip it, do a UFO show here and there, but we're always going to go back to ancient civilizations. I got a big one I'm working on. I'm going through a book right now. It's kind of an older book. But oh my god, it's so good. It's by David Hatcher Childress, and I think we can
The OG.
Yeah, he's great. So I might it's on Audible, by the way, if you guys want to listen to it.
I have a credit.
You have a credit? Yeah. So
tell me what it is.
The name of the book, I'm blanking on it now because of my brain.
And the audience.
Technology of the Gods. Technology of the Gods. It's fantastic.
I need it. I want it.
So like that would be a great primer to get into the ancient civilization stuff. I think Ancient Apocalypse was awesome to get like normies in. I mean, it's all stuff if you're into this, like we knew it, but it's nice to see it visualized. But there's just so much more. And Technology of the Gods can lead into Fingerprints of the Gods and Magicians of the Gods by Graham Hancock, and we could just do that forever. I'm fine with that.
I need those books. I really want them.
You gotta have them. I
gotta have them.
Yeah, put them on the shelf like back there.
You
need to get a big poster right there. Graham Hancock.
Please come on the show.
Please be on the show.
Please join us.
So we are joined by the very dapper, handsome-looking Adam Crigler. Looking good, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I was roaming around a castle today. Sat on a throne. Tried to make my way into the king's private bathroom. Couldn't get in though. One day I'm gonna find my way in. There's a hidden panel behind a bookshelf. One of those. And this thing's like 450 years old. But they have it locked. But one day I shall poop in that toilet, I swear.
Damn straight. You look like
they actually put a real toilet there?
Yeah. You can't. I don't even know what the room looks like, but I know there's a bathroom back there.
You look like you do the books for a gangster in 1920s London. So
I mean, Peaky Blinders is a fantastic show. Man, what a good show!
Great show.
Ready to slice somebody up.
Interesting enough, that was the inspiration for one of the bedrooms in my house. I have a guest bedroom. My mom was just staying there, and it was empty. Well, kind of. There was a bed, but over the past month and a half, my wife has
in the bedroom
on the floor.
Well, the guest bedroom, it was just in there. She spent the past month and a half getting like old time pieces to make it. She calls it the time machine, and her inspiration was Peaky Blinders. So you walk in that bedroom now, and you're transported back in time. It's got like the old wash,
Oh yeah, like you
bowl.
Put that on top of the dresser.
Yeah, I mean it's on top of the dresser. It's man, it's freaking cool what she did with that room. It's got all this stuff from the 20s, so it really does feel like going back.
Mama Criggs, hail Mama Criggs.
Yeah, she might be in chat. I know she's at the airport right now. She left early because she had a really early flight tomorrow, and I was going live and she sent me a message. She's like, Adam, I'm really bummed. My flight doesn't leave till 3:30 tomorrow. So I was like, no, you got to be at the airport for like 15 hours now.
That's rough.
And it's not worth coming back here to then there's no trains that would even bring her to where I'm at. Damn. So it's rough. So shout out to my mom.
Shout out to Mama Criggs.
She's roughing it right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you froze for a second, but not anymore. That's good.
Did I?
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
It might be me. I have 8,000 windows up right now. So,
I think it's StreamYard, actually.
It could be.
Yeah.
It's been happening a lot to different people, and I don't know. I also have a lot of tabs, so
yeah, I've got a Ryan Kinnell amount of tabs up right now.
I clear my tabs out.
I'm working on
we
clear our history and use our VPNs for certain things, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Hey, welcome, Adam. It's great talking to you. I love this show. I love this show.
I do too. I love it.
Hello, Quarter Black Garrett.
Hey, what's up, man?
Sexy mofo.
This is one of my favorite topics. I really like the Missing 411. It's one of those mysteries that doesn't have an explanation, that is just like, it could be so many different things. There's so many different angles to it. And I just like a really good mystery story. So the different stories are the most interesting thing to me. How they can you can turn around and gone without a trace. Sometimes they show back up. Sometimes they don't. Never know.
And there is so many cases. We're going to scratch the surface.
Oh, yeah. We're barely going to get into this.
I've watched all the documentaries, and I think he's left out some of the best ones, to be honest with you. I wish he'd curated a little better.
Maybe he's saving them for another documentary.
Well, they're all in the books. And, We'll read the intro from the website to give you kind of an idea what this is. Adam, if you don't mind me sharing a DM, you said the more I look into this, the less I trust the government. And
I
yes,
did say it.
word,
It's true.
absolutely.
Yeah.
George the Giant Slayer is in the chat. You know, George, it feels like it's been like 15 minutes since I've talked to you. George,
That's weird. George,
$50. Says, hell yeah, just remember the Greeks invented it all. All hail the beautiful bastards. Hey, I agree. I think your lineage predates herstory, whatever the fuck they want to call it. God, I'm not supposed to cuss in this show. Sorry. I'll be a little too late. I'll be a little late with this. Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine it happened 4 seconds earlier.
I know. But we also have to introduce the lady who has finished Hogwarts, the lady whose famous quote now is
people.
X-ray girl. Hello.
Hello. I have never heard of this 411 missing 411 topic. I think this is one of the things that like scares me the most, like missing kids, nothing adds up. Why did that happen? And sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. And of course, it has to happen multiple times before you can start like piecing, oh, they're kind of connected. Like, how many other cases do we not even know about?
Oh,
now that the internet is here, right?
There's no database. That's the part of the mystery, X-ray girl. And we're going to go into that because, I mean, that's why we're all into.
That blows my mind that they don't have a database.
There's a federal database.
Yeah, but not for the parks.
Well, that's what they're telling.
Well, not for the parks. We'll get into it.
That's what they're telling.
We'll get into
it.
The reason we're into this is because of the mystery. The reason we're into forbidden archaeology and forbidden information and unsettled science is because there is more to it than meets the eye. Everything, and you know, it's not a mystery. It's going to get solved in our lifetime. But if we get a couple of, you know, bits of information before we croak, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Missing 411 is I don't get creeped out easy. I just don't. I wish I did, but I don't. I walk through Halloween Horror Nights and people were jumping in front of me. I'm all, hello.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
That they're going to scare you. This is real.
Well, like this. Yeah, this one I was, you know, I started listening to it, I think in 2014 and 15. Art Bell was still around and George Knapp had Dave on one night and I listened to it. I'm like, I was totally engaged. I had no idea where this guy was going. He was just he was giving you facts like, here, this kid was missing on this date. His parents or his dad was walking right in front of him. He was 3 feet away, turned his head for 2 seconds, turned around, never saw his kid again. Then they found his kid's shoes or his clothes a mile up a mountain. And the kid was 3. And it's just like, no way. And they're like, well, it could have been an animal. Sure. Except for they found his clothes and they were shredded and they were folded. And it's like, what?
And there's no evidence of a struggle. There's no blood. There's nothing. I have a story like that I'll tell you about.
We're going to go over some stories. Again, it's scratching the surface. If you're not familiar with Missing 411, let's go to their website real quick. And they have 3 documentaries out. One is free on YouTube, the first one, and then there's The Hunted, and there might be more.
That's on YouTube. I just watched it on YouTube.
And then there's the UFO Files, which is the latest one.
Yeah,
and that's
that one.
This is where Dave starts for the longest time, and I'm talking 3 or 4 years. He would not come to any conclusions. They're like, "What do you think it is, Dave?" He's like, I don't know. There's just a lot of patterns. But then he started going, well. And in one of the movies, they go to Northern California where these hunters meet. It's a secret place that they won't even tell you now. And they had to build a shelter because they kept on getting terrorized by a Bigfoot. So they would run in this shelter. And
I want to see this.
It's crazy. That's in the second movie. It's towards the end of the second movie, The Hunted. The UFO connection is made in the UFO Files. And we'll also get to that one, but let me present just the basics Nope,
Can
we
I
don't wanna
ask
do
a
that.
very rudimentary question?
Of course, that's what you're known
What
for.
does missing 411 mean? Because someone asked that in the chat.
I think
and
he's about to
thought that'd
get
be
into
something.
it. He's just gonna do like a little.
411 is I mean, that's the information. So in America, if you dialed 411 on your phone, I'm thinking this is what it is. I've never known other than
That's
that.
what I always understood it to be.
That was information. So if you want to do back in the old days when you had the phone that was hooked up to a line and you needed some information, you dialed 411 and you're like, do you have a number for Quarter Black Garrett? And they give you the number or not, you know.
I have a good breakdown right here. Missing 411 cases are a colloquial classification that documents missing person cases that fit a number of criteria. The disappearance occurred in a national park, rural area, or large reserve of public land. Exceptionally odd circumstances surround the disappearance. Mental illness or voluntary disappearances does not appear to be the cause.
Yeah.
The term 411 actually has its origins in an inconspicuous computer term that refers to data that cannot be found or a corrupted link. It is certainly an apt metaphor for the state of these individuals who have vanished.
There's also other connections like boulder fields being adjacent to granite.
Yeah, specifically granite boulders, though. That's one thing.
There's a lot of connections like that too.
Like, what does that mean?
The project. Okay, what is our purpose? Missing 411. And this is mainly for the movie, but the project began after a meeting with a park ranger, and slowly evolved into a study of missing people who have vanished in the wild, many under highly unusual circumstances. We found in many of the cases, parents and relatives of the victims believe their loved ones were kidnapped. Law enforcement and media typically do not publicize concerns of kidnapping or abduction when the missing can be explained through traditional means. There are too many similar cases to ignore the trend. The consistencies must be accounted for. Missing 411 will begin a societal dialogue about the unexplained disappearances. We aim to be a voice for the victims and their families. Missing 411 in the movie will add visual clarity to these cases. And it does in some cases. The first one, as I told Adam in the chat, it's a primer, and I don't think they picked the best cases. It actually follows a missing kid who they haven't found to this day, was missing in 2015. His last name was Dior, or the Dior kid. I can't remember if it's Dior Jr. or if he's got a last name. And it happened in, I believe it was Idaho. The family went camping in a pretty isolated spot. It's a 7-mile rocky road to drive there. They left their little 3-year-old with grandpa. Grandpa turned his head for 5 minutes, turned around, never saw the kid again. They put the parents through the ringer. They put the grandpa through the ringer. There was a suspicious friend with the grandpa, but he got cleared. And they've never found anything. And that's just one.
Where was that? Where was that located?
Idaho.
In Idaho. Okay.
I'll get.
Is that Yosemite?
It is no. Yosemite is Idaho. Parts of it are. Hang on.
Okay, because there's a lot of Yosemite cases, like a lot.
Dior.
So that's not surprising that it's up in that area. I don't know exactly where Yosemite is.
Okay, Dior vanished July 10th, 2015, when he was 2 years old while visiting Timber Creek Campground with his parents, Jessica Mitchell and Vernal Dior Koons. Dior's great-grandfather, Robert Walton, and Isaac Reinwand, a friend of the family on the trip. Where is the town name? God, I can't remember.
So yours is in Idaho. The story that I was very
Yosemite
similar to that.
In California. Okay.
It's
Yosemite is in California. I'm thinking Yellowstone. Yellowstone is
yeah, that's what you're thinking.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Yosemite.
So the story, yours is Idaho. The one that I researched is in Utah, 60 miles from Skinwalker Ranch. Not too far away from each other. I mean, the states are touching. That supposedly, what's the term that they use? The Skinwalker Alley or zone or something. There's something to that. There's a term for it, and all of these weird happenstances happen in this radius around the Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
In the second movie, The Hunted, the second hunter that, because it's a bunch of hunters, is who he's so far anyway. The second hunter that he talks about is in New Mexico, and where they're talking about, the guy said he's like, Roswell's right there. So I truly believe this is one of his buddies. He's like, I truly believe he was abducted because it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, they actually in the third film they talked to somebody who had been abducted, that they found was truthful.
Interesting.
Need to talk to Travis Walton. That dude's legit. I talked to him at Contact in the Desert 3 years ago for a half an hour. He was just like in this little hallway selling his book. And I bought his book, and I started the conversation like, dude, I think I'm not too sure about this abduction thing. You are the most legit guy I've ever heard. You've always been consistent, and I watched your movie. Thought it was awesome. And he says it doesn't even do it justice. The movie doesn't even do like the terror justice. And we chatted, and he was a really nice guy,
It's funny. I just talked about this like 2 days ago with my mom. My mom and I and my wife were chilling, and we were talking about how scary it would be to be abducted, and I'm like, man, I feel like there would be a part of me that would just be intrigued. But then
until they start like putting needles in your eyeball.
My mom was like,
right, yeah. So they start flaying you alive.
I think the fear would probably win over. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true.
Fire in the
what if
sky,
they're nice?
yeah.
Who knows? They probably aren't. But
yeah, they could be just giving you cookies and stuff up there.
But yeah, what's creepy about this is the way like Dave Paulides, or however he says his name, is a great storyteller. So he really sets the scene and creeps your shit out because I'm going to go over a couple. There's the famous one where, and I don't know the names, I think it was in California, a guy went to go photograph California, brought his kid, turned around for not even a minute. Kid was gone.
That's crazy.
They find the kid's clothes, folded up, and then they find the kid later, right? In a place there's no way a little kid could get this far. And this is the one I think David was talking about where he was talking to a park ranger, and he was on something, he was doing some Bigfoot stuff, right? And then he started talking to the park ranger, and the park ranger's like, yeah, we have no database at all for missing people in either state or national forest land at all, like none. And FBI, he later on talks about how the FBI doesn't really have a registry for adults, for missing adults. I mean, disband the FBI.
Yeah, only in specific
fucking
cases,
useless,
like very specific. And even they were even saying, he was mentioning in this that even with children, they have to fit like a very specific criteria for them to even care at all.
And it's political.
Yeah.
It's super political. The national parks has their jurisdiction, and they don't want it pissed on, right? So we have basic human politics involved, and maybe something a little bit more nefarious. Now,
their technologies is really low, though. You've been to a lot of these little spots. Like we went to that crater site. That's like a national site that they put a little building, a visitor center you go into. You step into like 30 years ago. It feels like it was the late 80s, the 90s. Their technology there is so crap. So it doesn't surprise me that they don't have a database and they're not keeping track of this stuff. They're just like, oh, this is the police. It's the police matter. They will track this, and they're just not doing
one with the meteor. But Yosemite,
you think
Yosemite
so, yeah.
brings in big money. Like there is millions of people visiting that all the time. Now, to take care of the questions you're going to have in the chat, which are legit, David Paulides makes sure to go over animal attacks.
Weeds those out.
Crime. He weeds out all the and
like the earlier it said the mental illness. They take out mental illness or self harm.
Like I'm going out to lose myself.
Self-delete. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So he takes those off the board, and these stories, the ones that he curates, are the ones that fit this criteria that are unexplained.
And they're in clusters. That's the weird thing.
Yes.
Is they all you start seeing like around the United States, it's cluster. And he's been expanding it. He's gone to Europe. There's a really creepy one. I couldn't find it. I looked, of a full-grown adult who went to a ski park and it was up in these mountains in Europe. You could only take a train to get up there. There is video of the guy walking down, like security cam video of the guy walking down the street, and like he goes missing like 10 minutes later, and they never see him again. Full grown adult. So there's stuff like that. And then later on, find his clothes. You know, there's a lot of finding of clothes of now there's hypothermia. We got to talk about that. Hypothermia is a thing where people want to take off their jacket and stuff. So you have to consider that. But fold
them all nicely in a pile.
Not when it's folded nicely in a pile. Or you find shoes up in a tree, or the weirdest
they
one
found
is
one guy's boot like lodged in a freaking tree. Yeah, I was like, "What do you mean lodged in a tree?" They kind of breezed past that. I'm like, "Wait a minute, hold on."
Look at these clusters here.
And for any of you in the chat, I don't know how many of you guys like. My dad was an avid camper. We camped all the effing time, and until I moved to San Francisco, I camped all the time. I went to Joshua Tree. I went to the middle of nowhere. I camped. I loved it. So I know my camping. I don't like glamping. I like sleeping on the ground in a tent.
Yeah, under the stars.
Under the stars. That's the kind of, and I've done it all over California. And California, if you haven't been there, the northern part of it is a completely different world. It is just forest. That's all it is. There's trees as far as you can see. There's not a lot of people. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to get lost in Yosemite. And people do. When I used to go to Yosemite, there was some MFer. They were always pulling a dead body off Half Dome. That always, like, there wasn't a week I went there where they weren't pulling a dead body off Half Dome. Some guy trying to climb the face of Half Dome. That's dumb. Don't do that. I just think it's dumb. Free climbing is dumb.
Crazy, yo.
Yeah. Like,
no thanks.
Do drugs or something if you want to. Don't free climb, dude. Jesus.
Tom Cruise actually did those stunts where he did that jump. Like, he straight up did that.
Oh yeah,
from the second movie.
Yeah.
From the new one, he
dude
fucking did a motorcycle off a cliff 6 times to get the take right. So Crazy. It's a motorcycle off a ramp, then he parachutes all the way down.
Insane. And then he taped the call to the audience on top of a plane.
Oh yeah.
And they did a flip right after. It was so rad. My goodness.
But Jennifer Lawrence did it first.
She was the OG.
She was the OG.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Let's not forget.
Thank you.
We all owe you so much. She was the first one to go missing as well in 411.
Hey, if you've climbed in Yosemite,
got found.
Good obviously. For you. El Capitan is crazy. El Capitan is crazy. You go up the top of El Capitan, and it is a 3,000-foot sheer cliff. And you can, back in the 80s, you could walk up to the edge. There was no fence or anything. You could just walk up to the edge and look down. So what Garrett was just showing you was clusters. Could you put that back up? Sorry.
Yeah.
I was talking all over it. Those are the clusters that we're looking at that Dave has worked on. And I
can you zoom in over on Yosemite?
It's not a very high res photo.
Oh, because I was gonna say, what's the difference between the pink and the blue?
I'm trying to find a higher res view.
Well, you could see the amount of clusters. And the first thing that I read, I found this website that it just had a great article. It's just missing 411 cases, disappearance, and like connections or whatever. And it focused on David's work. And there was like 7 different examples that they gave. And they were all located within like 1.5 miles of each other, or like 2 miles. Right. It all happened in the same spot. And it was a granite, all sorts of granite all over the place. There was a body of water. I forget there's like 6 things that he kept saying that this is what keeps happening.
Yep. It's body of water, granite.
Let me see if I can find the list.
Sometimes with the kids, there is some kind of, either hearing, there's an impairment, being on the spectrum, which, a lot of people will say, well, a kid will just run off. A kid, that is a possibility. It depends how far on the spectrum they are, but they usually tend to hang close to your parents. Okay. Too.
True.
There was a case in, I think it was Arizona, maybe New Mexico, where a special needs adult woman was at a rest stop, and she wandered off. They never found her again. They did end up. She was in the movie too. I think she's in one of his videos, and they did find her. They found her where they searched. They found her body 2 years later where they searched. And that's another commonality is when they do find bones or clothes, it's where they searched.
Yeah, they've already searched that area. They show back
multiple
up.
times.
Yeah, even.
That is something that kept appearing. They kept saying we went there, and then they appeared, or not the people, but the clothes, the things. It's like someone went back and put them there. It's like who's what?
So he started out with missing children, which is the creepiest one because in many cases if they have found some of these kids alive, by the way, and they can never remember because they're kids. But they've also found kids like 1,000 feet up on a mountain.
Yeah, impossible for them to get there.
The adults could barely get up there.
Or like 200 miles away. Like weird, like very large spaces. Like they cannot travel within the amount of time that they went missing, and when they were found, they couldn't have just walked there. They couldn't have run there. So how did they get there? And again, like you said, they can't remember. They don't know what it was. Or sometimes they have stories of it was a large hairy man that came and took care of me. Yeah, there's several stories where, again, it's like these really young kids, like 5 years old, goes missing in the woods, can't be found. They find them totally unhurt. Doesn't look like they had, like several days later, doesn't look like they experienced any kind of weather. And they say a large hairy man.
A wood booger, if you will.
A wood booger.
Right.
Took me and took care of me. But it's like, again, 5 years old. It's hard to get information out of a 5-year-old like that. But there's several stories that way.
And there's a couple stories where like the government gets involved. I don't know if you ever heard that one. I think it was in Georgia where it was in the 50s or 60s where the kid went missing and there was howls heard in the forest and the Green Berets showed up to search.
That's weird.
Green Berets. But then we're gonna talk. See, when it gets really weird is when you're talking about experienced hunters disappearing, like without a trace.
Well, that you mentioned you want to talk about Tom. I don't remember his last name, but that was the first.
It's like Meckus, Tom Meckus.
Yeah, I mean, and this guy was a air ranger, dude. Loved the woods. He taught hunting, taught survival for freaking decades. So this guy knew what he was doing. He was with a group. There was 7 guys, and the 4 of them were like they were 100 yards apart in a line, and he was at the end of the line. And then they did a hunt for about 2 hours. They all regrouped. He was nowhere. The weird thing about this is the FBI came and joined, and kind of did their own separate search. And nobody, like Tom's wife was like
Messick.
trying to find out what they knew.
Sorry, my bad.
Tom Messick. So his wife was like, trying to reach out to the FBI, never returned her calls, never coordinated with the local authorities, kind of did their own thing, dipped, and like no one knows. They still never found the guy. No clothes, no gun, no anything. What I don't understand.
No.
There's multiple cases where these FBI agents would show up. They wouldn't coordinate. They wouldn't work.
G-Man.
Actually, let me see. Yeah. Look, this is an example of that David's talking about here. In one example, both the FBI and the National Guard engaged in a search for a missing child in 2013. A forest ranger that witnessed the exchange described it as 2 entirely different operations that seemed to have their own agendas. There was active efforts to distance themselves from each other, the FBI and the National Guard and the U.S. National Park Service, and even the parents of the missing kids. So they were there for their own purposes. He even goes into they kind of allude to some MK Ultra stuff, some government programs that might be happening in the neighborhood. So I don't know. Who knows?
And
questions than answers.
Yeah.
Well, that Tom Messick had.
That's another commonality.
So Tom Messick was 80. He was 82. He was hunting
82.
with his kid and some friends.
Yeah,
experienced
his three sons and a couple other hunters.
Yep. And
with
experienced.
decades of experience. Yeah,
Yep.
easy.
Like a total badass. And they were just, the way he was hunting game is he just sat in a rock and waited. That's all he did.
Well,
and
his sons were going up around the hill
Yep.
to try to like push the deer towards them. So they were sitting maybe 50 feet off the road. They just went in 50
far off
feet,
the road.
sat down, and just waited for 2 hours, and no deer came. And you know what's really weird about that? When they were talking to the authorities, they mentioned that they didn't see any animals. No animals at all. No deer,
None.
no chipmunks.
That was in my story.
No anything. They were like, it was really eerie. There was no animals as they were searching around, like no signs of animals, no chipmunks, no squirrels, no birds. Like it was weird. And that's something that I stuck with me. I'm like,
so the story that I researched was Garrett Birdsley, I think his name, Garrett Birdsley, in 2004 in Utah. He was a 12-year-old that went missing, was a Boy Scout. He was on a Boy Scout trip. So with a group of Boy Scouts and their fathers, went out to the lake. His father and him, they woke up really early to go fishing, walked off to a nearby lake. They said nearby. I didn't get the exact dimensions, but I think it was a walk. So they walked to it, but like a 5-minute walk, right? Walk to the lake. They're sitting there, no fish. Garrett gets his sock wet. He goes, I want to go back to the camp. I want to change my sock. It's wet. He goes and starts to walk back. His dad watches him while he walks back, and he's 12. So, I mean, I have an 11-year-old. I'm thinking, okay, you're thinking, okay, he's independent. He can walk back. He's a Boy Scout. He knows the forest. He knows what to do. He's just walking back on the trail that we walked on for 5 minutes. Goes back and he starts to go down a pathway, and it's the wrong one. And his dad yells out, "Hey, you're going the wrong way." That's the one. His son walks back, goes up the trail. His dad's sitting there just waiting. 20 minutes pass, 30 minutes pass, 40 minutes, an hour passes. He's like, where's my son? He goes back to the campsite. Turns out his son never showed up. Never showed up.
It's a 5-minute walk.
5-minute walk, never showed up. He had and by the way, I forgot to say. It can't
even be a mile, half a mile.
His son took his fishing pole with him back to the camp. Didn't find his fishing pole, didn't find a sign of him. They got the entire neighborhood, not the neighborhood, but the entire community, surrounding cities, their town, their people came out and looked for him. The next day, it rained. The next day, it snowed. They couldn't find a trace of him. And then, in a boulder field, they found a wet sock. A sock that was taken off when it was wet. It wasn't wet at the time, but it was wet when he took it off. And that was all they ever found. They never, how do you, what's really weird is the fishing pole. You'd find a fishing pole, right? Like, if he was running from a mountain lion, say, he would drop that fishing pole. Or they would find it somewhere close. But they never found him.
If it's an animal attack,
and there was no animals.
There's a story.
It would be a mess. It would be an absolute mess, by the way. And
it wasn't me, everybody.
As David Polides pointed out, I don't know about bears, but he mentioned how many mountain lion deaths there have been in the last 14 years or in the last 20 years in America, and it's 14.
Wow. Second hunter that they talk about is this bear expert. Like, this guy was the dude the government would call in if they wanted to know about bears. He lived in bear country, the Yukon or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he was going out on a 2-week solo mission. He took a freaking plane to a place, and I guess they didn't hear back when they were supposed to meet him 2 weeks later, right? And when they came back, he had never shown up, and they went to his campsite, and it looked like he cooked one meal, like right when he got there. And this guy was like a bear expert. So they kind of were like, all right, they started looking, and they found his pack. They found his bow. He's a bow hunter. They found his bow. They found his hat. They were like, all right, this guy is they've seen this guy actually face down a freaking charging bear and be successful. Like got this bear off him. Like he's dealt with bears. And they were talking about how when there's a bear attack, when there's any sort of an animal attack, in the scat of the predator, they often find the clothes of the victim, right? If it just gets in, they're ripping, they're shredding, they're eating, whatever. It's like gruesome, but that's what happens. And they didn't find any of that. He just straight up disappeared with all his stuff left behind. And this is not the type of guy that would get surprised by a bear. You know, he's by himself in the woods. And also, I wanted to mention Tom's friend, Sid, all right, said he heard a weird sound. He didn't describe the sound, which kind of was like, why? Why would you be able to like describe it? He said, I heard it from something else too, or I was reading about the same case, that he said once that it sounded like a bear trap closing. And he heard it at about 150 yards away from him, which was about exactly where Tom was. Although he said it came from a different direction, but it was a sound he said he'd never heard in the woods before. It was a weird sound.
Yep.
And it was quick, just like a fast sound. Like, what the heck was that? So there was a weird sound that this decades of experienced hunter had heard that he had never heard before. It's weird. So clearly not a predator. They would have found some remains. Some you would see some sort of attack, right? Because they were talking about, if a bear attacks you, play dead at first, but then once it becomes clear that that's not going to work, you have to fight for your life or you're going to get eaten. There was no sign of anything. All his stuff was intact. It's like he set down his bow and that for like a snack, and his snack was still there. But that's another thing. All the food that was in his bag was still in his bag. If it was a bear
would have eaten it.
The bear would have gone and rooted through his bag also.
Dude, I watched a bear go through my igloo ice chest.
Yeah.
It's the first time I ever saw a bear. About shit myself. And I just stayed in my tent. He could have all the food he wants.
Yep. Wow.
I found an article.
It's his now.
10 unsolved missing 411 cases. So we'll go over that.
Yeah.
In just a second. And it's based on David's work. So
is that the one I just posted in
maybe
our chat?
Maybe we can do that one first.
This is the one that focuses on Yosemite. There's a lot of different connections from David's work.
Which chat did you put it in?
I
got it. I got it.
You got it?
Okay. I got it, baby. We got a super chat though from Rob Robinson for $200.
Holy shit.
Damn, Rob. That's a bro right there.
That's a bro.
You're a traveler, just like us.
You get the extra claps.
Love your new channel. Love the show. Love FNT and GNG. We love GNG too. Yeah. That's Geeks and Gamers. Where'd it go? Thank you. It disappeared for a second. There is some things that seem unusual, makes you wonder what happened over the last 50 to 100 years. Think about all the people like X-Ray was talking about this. Think about the stuff we don't know.
Yeah.
Great point.
Well, and like realistically, back even 20 years ago, if there was a database, it wasn't very effective, right? No. There was no internet.
Well, I'm watching 1883. It's a historical drama, but it is not very historical. Because it makes the Comanches very, very nice. And they weren't. But
it's made for modern audiences.
It's still good. It's still good, and it's a big commercial for Second Amendment, I think. But what they do talk about is how many effing people just died. And on the South Trail, you can still, and I got curious, so because I'm morbid, I looked it up, and there's graves, unmarked graves everywhere, like in the middle of nowhere. And some of them are starting to sink into the ground, because it's been 100 years, but you can still find some. And just think about like you're some settler who just croaked by yourself, completely forgotten.
Yep.
It's a horrible way to go.
Oregon
Trail, baby. Thank you, by the way, for the $200. And then we have WG for $50. It says, hail Forbidden Frontiers. Great show. One question for you. Will you broadcast an episode during the Cosmic Summit? That would be cool. Just my 2 cents. Absolutely.
That would
WG.
be cool.
That is a work trip, and we're gonna see if
research.
we can. Ben from Uncharted X said we were chit chatting in Randall's chat, and he says, "I hope to meet you there." I think we could if we could drag him on a live stream. That'd be awesome. I'd love to meet that guy.
I'd like
Live interview.
Live interview. Let's do it.
Hell yeah, he's got a video coming out soon too. It maybe I would have noticed if it dropped. It hasn't dropped yet, but Uncharted X, great channel. Subscribe to it. Great channel.
I like it a lot.
Fucking awesome.
I got
work.
the you mentioned last week the Middle Pyramid megalithic complex, the maze or something, right? I don't remember. I think
it's the
labyrinth.
The labyrinth.
The labyrinth. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. I have this video pulled up, and I'm
dude,
excited to
dive
watch it.
into
It's
that.
really cool.
My mom's been here, so I haven't been like hanging out in my office, but yeah.
And Jimmy from Bright Insight, we got to get him on the show.
Jimmy.
We love Jimmy.
He said he watches the show. I don't know if he's watching right now, but Jimmy, you're great. Come on the show.
Jimmy's awesome.
Can't wait to have you on.
Great job on Rogan, by the way.
Yeah, so good.
Great job. So speaking of Jimmy, somebody's Trucker Rob for $20. Hail, Trucker Rob. Oh, I didn't put my truck horn.
Trucker Rob.
I gotta fix that. I wasn't sold on the structure theory, but after watching Bright Insight's video, I'm coming around to it. I am too, because I was like, yeah, Randall said it was a natural structure, but then Jimmy said, well, maybe it was the capital, and then he breaks down. Well, I think it was the Greek historian, the father of history. I can't remember his name, but Herodotus. And it makes sense that they would build a city there if it was exposed and it was more lush. That would be you already have the rings are there. Use them.
In Egypt, they talk about that Egypt is a second civilization. They came from another civilization. That's in their stories. So
from the
it's right there. It's not too far.
I think
the
they're
first
both
time.
right.
The first
I
time.
think they're both right. I think the Azores was on the outer edge of what the Atlantean Empire was, because that's really what it would have been.
The Azores
would have been like that.
Randall pointed out in the Ice Age would have been a paradise.
Right. Exactly.
Or it could be two different civilizations that got lost.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Randall was talking about taking a trip there. It's like, I want to go there now. I want to
go to the Azores.
Yeah.
For science. I mean, research purposes.
I'm going to get a tan while researching.
Okay.
Yeah.
The back of my eyes.
Also looking into the Clinton emails thing about Gilgamesh, biblical giants, and resurrection chamber. I'm into all that stuff too. I'm into the giants. That's some weird stuff, but I
don't know anything about the giants.
Oh, there's too many. They're in all.
I heard about the museum that threw away, that supposedly has thrown away
giant skull or something.
Skulls and bones and stuff of just like
too many
sunsetted them.
Too many stories about giants, a giant race, and we're still discovering humans. So who knows?
If we could have a tiny race of people that are still on the earth right now, I think there's
the pygmy
possibility.
Giant are giants.
Like 9 foot,
11 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like 9 to.
Well, think about it.
Which those people do exist. Like we have seen people. It's an abnormality.
So,
but maybe that's a genetic trait from
millions
the past.
and millions of years ago. We absolutely did have a dragonfly that was like freaking this big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Reason we had a dragonfly that was this big is there was more oxygen in the air. So why were so much of the megafauna mega prior to 12,000 years ago? Why were they so effing big? Why did we have a 20-foot sloth? You can't say there wasn't predators. No, there was bigger predators. So why was everything so big? I don't know. I'm just asking. And why couldn't people be a little bigger? That's all.
Yeah.
Don't know.
A crazy thing to say.
Don't know. But we did have a freaking 20-foot sloth. And that blew that. I was in London. First time I figured out, I didn't know we had one. And in the museum, Natural History Museum in London, they got the bones of a 20-foot sloth. I was like, what? What the hell's that?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Trucker Rob, Thank you for the $20. The Grizzly for $20 says, I'm glad you're branching out from stuff like the Younger Dryas and Atlantis. Well, that's my main obsession though. I get that it's important to you, but it's also fun for other paranormal stuff. Do you guys have any ghost experience or spooky stuff? Yes.
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 We all have?
Ooh.
Yep. I have a few different stories.
Maybe we should say that for a story, for a show.
I refuse to acknowledge it, so I think that's probably why. If it's there, cool. Just stay over there. I'm good.
I was with other people too. I was with other people who can verify.
Time was with someone else, and it's a cool story. I have a few.
I have a few as well. Yeah,
I've told the story a million times. I was at the La Paloma Theater. It was Rocky Horror. We the backstage was under the stage, so you went down a little passage and you were under the stage. We were sitting there smoking cigarettes, hanging out. Somebody walked across the stage and we're like, shit, somebody's in here. We locked somebody in. So we went up, nobody's there. Went back down. Somebody walked across the stage again. We're like, motherfucker, somebody's fucking with us. One of our friends is fucking with us. And I know all the little passages of that theater. Long story short, never found anybody. Somebody kept walking across the stage. It happened like 4 times until we decided to leave.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
But there's more. And like most of them happen in that La Paloma Theater, which is still there in Encinitas, California. So,
wow.
It's an old theater.
We should definitely get those stories together and do a whole show on ghosts.
So should I'll save mine.
I want to save mine too. I've got 4.
All right.
Okay.
Let's pull up that.
Yeah.
God.
Oh my God. I've only got 2. So
I got 4.
Let's see.
Dang.
Let's go to Adam's article.
This is the first one. When you said you want to talk about the missing 411, I was like, I don't know what that is. So then I've heard of it, but I just did a simple search, and this is
cool
the first
photo.
thing not the first thing that popped up, but this was an article that looked promising. And it was based on the same guy that you had suggested. It was based on his research, so I was like, all right, I'll check this one out.
Well, it's if anything, no matter what the conclusions are, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
And people go missing all the time. It sucks, but I don't think we really understand how many.
Oh yeah.
How many children are missing right now? Yeah. How many adults are missing right now? It's kind of astonishing how many people are missing. Just flat out, we don't know what happened to them. And back in the 70s, back in the 60s and 50s and earlier on, you understand this was a big wide open country. There wasn't an internet. Not everybody had a camera. But now it's still pretty weird. You notice there's no clusters, and somebody brought up the cave systems in America, and you could be right, but there's no clusters over Texas, and Texas has tons of caves, tons and tons and tons of caves.
It kind of, there's a big emptiness in the center of America.
It's because it's all corn.
These clusters aren't there.
That's just corn.
Well, and there's no massive forest systems. There's no massive
it's all corn.
National parks.
Yeah.
All got wiped
no
out
mountains.
from a flood.
Like there's no mountains in Texas. So that you're not gonna is that one of those things that it has to do with it? Some mountains need to be nearby. Some mountain dwelling.
That took a little
minute.
Can
you pop that map back up for a second? I just want to see it again.
It took a minute to get used to.
You mentioned that the flood, and that's interesting. I never realized that, because you got the Rocky Mountains that would have protected. You look at that.
There you go. Look at that.
The whole left side.
You see it. It's all side. These are mountains here. All these little green bits and
go to the
national
right.
Parks.
Go to where is that the Ohio River? There's the Mississippi, and that's the Ohio River. Go to where look at. So you see all the green, but you see like the big emptiness in there. Randall goes over that. He's got a map that shows the topography, and everything used to be massively bigger, or there was a big flood. So anything up north, look at Canada, look at our the plains, that was all under lots of ice that flattened the ground.
Interesting.
So that water had to go somewhere. It went down. It went where gravity sent it. Now Texas is a different beast because we are essentially the bottom of an ocean or a sea that has over millions of years just risen up. But that's why it's all limestone, and it's got the oh God, the plateaus. Doesn't really have mountains. At least,
Right.
But like when you drive down the middle of California, that Central Valley, it's even more boring than Texas. Trust me. I've done it so many times.
Texas goes on forever though.
It's so much of Texas. Yeah.
It's a quick boring versus the slightly very long boring.
I'm going to be enjoying that very long boring starting Wednesday when I start my drive out to San Diego.
Oh,
you're gonna do that? Oh man.
Good luck.
Oh no.
That's a drive.
It's a drive. I only fly so many times, and I'll be flying a lot this year, so I'm saving it. Okay, so we go back to this article.
Yep. It even says right at the bottom there, it says hundreds of thousands of people are missing. 411 cases, missing 411 cases.
Yes, nature can be cruel, can be a cruel mistress. Beneath its beauty lies an underbelly of primal fear for some of those who dare venture too deep. Since the beginning of humankind, we have endeavored to explore the realms of our wilderness, but in the process, many have failed to return. In recent history, a bizarre phenomenon has been growing. This is perplexing mystery of many hundreds of thousands of missing 411 cases. And it started out as a very small number that has grown under David Polidi's parameters. We'll just say parameters. Missing 411 cases are colloquial.
This is what I read earlier, actually.
Colloquial, yeah. Okay, you read that one earlier. Did you go? Yeah. Where did you end?
Right there, the missing 411 investigations by David.
Missing people in the USA or across the world are an unfortunate but regular occurrence. In fact, with as many as 90,000 people declared legally missing in America at any given time. That's think about that effing number.
A lot.
Like right now, there's 90,000 people missing.
That is a town the size of Oceanside, California, missing.
It's a lot of people.
It is. It is hard to ignore the issue. However, stories of missing 411 victims do not take place only in rural areas. David Polides, an investigator who spent 20 years of his life as a police officer, has uncovered a number of puzzling trends. The vast majority of these strange disappearances occurred on clearly marked or populated hiking trails. Additionally, victims are often proficient outdoorsmen and women, hikers and hunters who know their backwoods well. Polides has dedicated nearly a decade of his life to the research of 411 cases and has written a series of books on the subject. However, he has never suggested a cause until recently, by the way.
Can't wait to hear what that is.
Although there are both national and even international examples of far older cases, David Polides' efforts to synthesize records applies to recent history. His work focuses on the analysis of case files acquired through the Freedom of Information Act, which he's had a lot of trouble with, by the way, especially with the forest.
They talk about that, actually.
Yeah. Subsequently, with his methodical compilation of data, he identifies trends. By the way, he does live streams once in a while. You could see behind him, he's got folders by state, and it's just a giant bookshelf of his work. One of the most startling of these is the mystery of 411 disappearance hotspots, where it's the nature of the terrain or something else. There seems to be concentrations of disappearances in certain areas. There are a number of cluster spots across the globe. However, one of the most prevalent and recurring seems to be Yosemite National Park in California, where a lot of people go. I mean, a city.
It does look beautiful. Look at that.
It's fucking gorgeous. Oh, yeah. It's paradise, dude. That place is paradise.
I want to go camping. It's been too long. Need to go.
Don't go there. We like.
I'm gonna go there alone.
Around.
No, you should go there alone. Go there alone. No. For one, it's a year waiting list to get in.
Seriously?
Yep.
What? That's lame.
Really?
Holy shit.
There's other places, like you can get a hotel there.
That's my land.
But if you want to go to the campground, It's a year waiting list.
Oh, I see. I see.
Well, I'm not going to go to that camping ground. Right in the
Yosemite-
woods.
But dude, I've been there. It's gorgeous.
It looks so
Gorgeous
pretty.
place. It is epic being in between those. Back in the old days in the 50s when they were irresponsible, they would do these fire falls. I think it was off of, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. Was it off El Cap? I think it was off El Cap. So they would burn wood and throw it off the cliff.
That sounds really dangerous and awesome.
It was, I guess, awesome and pretty dangerous. Stacy was Stacy Eris, 1981. Stacy was 14-year-old girl on a horse riding trip with her father and several other friends in Yosemite National Park. What was likely a picturesque and enjoyable ride over the stunning wilderness of Yosemite became a nightmare for the Eris family. After arriving at the Sunrise High Sierra camp, Stacy cleaned up and decided to take a walk. The young girl asked both her father and another member of the party to join her, but was denied their company. She made it clear that that her walk was only down to a nearby lake in order to take some photographs and stretch her legs. The lake was nearby within earshot of the site, and the area was not known for any instances of animal predation. Thus, her family likely thought little of their daughter's actions. However, once she embarked on her short walk, Stacy Eris was never seen again. After a comprehensive and thorough search lasting 9 days with over 100 people, sniffer dogs, and helicopters, nothing more than the lens cap of the camera were ever found.
Oh, I got chills.
I mean, and it's an earshot, right? That's what I
right. So
heard.
Didn't
I
scream?
read that and I was like, well, yeah, if
yell
something
out?
came at her, if it was a predator or a human that was like coming to nab her, you'd think that they would hear her screaming.
That was something
Or a
that they also
scuffle.
noted in that Utah story I was talking about. It was within earshot and nobody heard anything.
Right.
He just gone. It's portals to
I was
another
looking
dimension.
at this thing in the right.
Oh yeah, Annalise. Yeah,
Annalise.
that was the
God,
possession. That is
Oh
a
my
creepy
gosh.
one, man.
We
That's
will
what
do an
they based the
exorcism.
movie off of.
We will do a show on Father Malachi Martin.
I was writing that down already. I was writing that down.
Martin. Okay, Adam, go on YouTube and search Art Bell Malachi Martin. You'll be able to find that one easy. Probably for his first couple shows. That one's pretty good. Those are good.
Oh yes, chat. While we're in between here, if there's any topics that you would be interested in learning more about, that you would want us to go into, put them in the chat. I'm making a whole list. We're gonna have the like Gary said earlier. We're gonna focus each show kind of on a main topic. Like right now, missing 411, and then we'll talk about tangential stories around that. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, please let us know.
Yeah, because we're gonna do this a lot. I love this show. Mystery Man,
So do I.
1968, year before I was born. In early August, that's the month I was born too. A man's body turned up in a crevasse located within 10-year Peak. This is a site not far from Sunrise High Sierra Camp and the lake where Stacy Eris disappeared. This man has never been identified, but analysis of the body was never able to determine the cause of death. Incredibly, obvious signs such as blunt force trauma or multiple broken bones that might evidence a fall of his death in the gorge were not present. So they found a body of a guy who just died. It could have been exposure. I mean, it was August though. It doesn't get that cold. It gets pretty fucking hot there.
Yeah, August, summertime.
Yeah. I always went in July and it was like 100 degrees.
See, this is why I want, instead of being cremated or buried, I want my body thrown into a crevasse so it could be found like this. Mysterious. What happened? I don't know. This man just showed up.
No clothes.
No clothes, totally naked.
You
Tiny
want to troll
schlong.
people? With your- yeah.
Massive.
Throw my body into a bog so it gets dug up in 1,000 years and I can be the
Throw me into an ice crevasse.
And used for fuel. For
the
someone's
bog man.
car. Oh, you'll
Hey,
be the fog
hey.
man, right?
I'd be like,
That
look
would-
at him. He looks so serene. And you're like,
That would make That would make Greta so happy if I just died and ended up as fuel for a car.
Well, you are the CO2 they're trying to get rid of. Anyway, please.
Well, yeah. All that CO2 that's really good for plants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Estes for 1976. Little more. God dang it. These freaking ads. And yes. And no, I'm not going to get ad block. I don't trust ad block.
Use Brave. It does it for you.
Little more than I'm going to be a boomer. You son of a bitch. It keeps jumping on me. Jeff Estes, 1976. A little more than a mile away from the gorge where the body of the mystery man turned up, 25-year-old Jeff Estes disappeared. Even after official search efforts, as well as efforts of family and friends, not a shred was ever found. Timothy Barnes, 1988. That's a year I was there. In mid-July, slightly northeast from the site of where the mystery man's body was discovered 20 years earlier, Timothy Barnes vanished. Similar to the Jeff Estes case, even after meticulous search efforts, not a shred of evidence surfaced. These 4 instances exemplify the strange anomaly within missing 411 cases of particular hotspots where we see within these few square miles a startling concentration of lost people. This suggests a geographic correlation.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Bureaucracy of missing persons. In the instance of Stacey Arris' case, David Police also encountered another perplexing obstacle. Upon filing a Freedom of Information request to access the original Arris case file, he was denied and contacted directly by a special agent from the park. The man told police, this is the case I was talking about earlier, but it wasn't the one where they found the clothes. That's another one. The man told police in no uncertain terms that they would not release the file. However, he provided no explanation for what was, by all accounts, a perfectly normal request. Another thing Polides mentions is after being denied, he would go out and then people would, like a couple of forest rangers off duty or leaving, would pull him aside and go, yeah, there's something to this, but we can't do anything about it. It's politics. Bureaucracy. Fools. Bureaucratic fools. What movie is that from?
No idea.
Chat, we'll get it in a nanosecond.
Chat knows all.
Yeah. As a retired law enforcement.
Aliens. Is it Aliens?
No.
I don't know.
Alien.
It's
no.
Whatever.
You're hurting me now. You're hurting me now.
It sounded like something Sigourney Weaver would have said.
Please
Raiders.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, chat.
Wait, what was
it?
It
was a
Raiders
good
of the Lost Ark.
Oh, okay.
Dude, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
I've seen it pretty recently.
I should watch it. I should watch them again. Those are great movies.
All right. I'll flog you both later. As a retired law enforcement officer, Polides takes interest in the way government agencies document for missing 411 cases. Unfortunately, there is no centralized database for missing people. And many parks do not even document disappearances specifically in their own parks. Instead, it goes into a national missing persons registry, at least in the US. The protocol has its drawbacks because the nature of the disappearances in the wilderness tend to be quite different from those in urban centers, where cars and other forms of transportation mean that an abductee can be hundreds of miles within a few hours. National parks, however, do not allow for this, especially when factoring in potential challenges to the victims, such as age, experience in the outdoors, the lack of equipment, clothing, or supplies for an extended duration in the elements. Also, the geography of the areas is mountainous or just difficult terrain. And Yosemite is granite. It's lots and lots of
there it is.
Rocky granite.
What a surprise. Back to the granite.
Well, look at Half Dome. That's a big rock.
Yeah, that's a lot of granite.
That is a big ass rock. That's a big ass rock. We were there during the earthquake too, when a lot of this came down. Big old earthquake back in the 90s. Where was I? Bureaucracy of missing people. Difficulty finding missing 411 victims. Ronald Kirk, 2012. A runner and former Marine knew the Red Rock Canyon Colical Basin area well when he went missing in late January. He had a history of spending time outdoors, especially in the area. Thus, when he let his friends know where he was going, no one was concerned. However, this unfortunately proved to be the last time anyone saw him again. Search and rescue teams found Kirk months later after an extensive search in a spot surrounded by established trails. He was less than 200 meters from a popular route called Turtlehead Peak. Authorities justified the delay in the discovery of his remains.
That's what they call my slum.
This is very serious.
That was terrible.
It's a very serious show.
Anyway.
That was good. Come on, get out of here.
No.
Authorities
Turtlehead Peak? Come on.
justified the delay in the discovery of his remains. Why?
I derailed you. I'm sorry.
No, these fucking ads.
Oh, the ads. Yeah, the ads keep popping up.
The lack they justified the delay in the discovery of his remains as an optical anomaly. They explained that the body blended in with the pigment of the soil and rock formations. What makes this recent case especially strange is the way searchers covered the area multiple times before they found the body. The lack of definitive cause of death and the general absence of communication with the family from law enforcement was also strange. David Paulides also noticed this recurring motif of bodies turning up in areas that rescuers had already combed through and near frequent spots. Believed in bizarre theories, Bigfoot and other cryptids from the Appalachian mythology have come into the equation a number of times. Although many of these missing 411 cases demonstrate strange instances, the link to any mountain monsters is mere folk devil hearsay. Interestingly, UFO sightings often correlate with these hotspots, sometimes even around the same time that someone has gone missing. Theorists have also proposed that a serial killer or occult sect that hunts humans may be on the prowl. I think UFOs are more likely than that. Serial killer, yes.
I mean, yeah, you look at that map. It's like, okay, so they're operating on the entire, all over those places. Yeah, no.
Yeah, specifically in national parks.
Where's Bohemian Grove?
Or it could possibly be multiple murderers happening, and they just have commonalities.
Like up north. I don't know if it's exactly in Mendocino, but it's around where they grow a bunch of pot up north. It's up there.
All right, I don't know what's going on with my camera. I keep freezing. I've been trying to reset it, but I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. You'll be able to listen anyway.
Not you.
Theorists, ancient aliens theorists say yes. Theorists also propose that a serial killer or occult sect hunts humans, maybe on the prowl. Some speculate that there might be part of some dark satanic ritual. Fringe theorists also, sure, that's me, also viewed the institution apathy with suspicion. They propose that missing 411 disappearances could be the result of a shadowy government program. Oh, the government would never experiment on people. I mean,
no, they wouldn't
crazy
do that.
thinking.
They told us they don't do it. So
they said they don't do it.
Obviously,
they said so, Adam.
I listen to the government, okay?
They always tell the truth. They have our best interests at heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With more people becoming aware of some of the government's irresponsible activities at the cost of civilians, such as MK Ultra, these ideas can quickly embed themselves in the minds of people desperate for answers. I'm not desperate for answers. I'm just open to the government being evil.
Yeah.
Because it is. So
say that again.
Yep. Is there a smokescreen? Regardless of the fringe ideas, it's so fringe to not trust the government nowadays.
That is mainstream now.
Yeah. What is substantial are a number of instances members of the National Park Service have denied reasonable requests for these case files. Paulides also explores, Yeah, that is weird.
Freedom of Information Act.
So
we should be able to get that information.
You guys fall on the side of if things look like a duck and they sound like a duck, they're a fucking duck. And things like sound weird and sound illogical, they are.
Here's my thing. Freedom of Information Act, right? You say, hey, can I ask questions about that? And if it's a nothing, then they go, yeah, sure, here you go. But if it's something, they go, no. You can't look at that. Why? Why can't I look at that?
Know. Now I want to look at it.
And then
there's got to be something you're hiding.
And it's one thing to dismiss bureaucracy, but then we need to fix the bureaucracy. Like it's out of control. Yeah. If we can't get basic fucking information, our information from our government, then fuck it. We don't need it. Like if we have to jump through hoops for our stuff, we don't need it. I don't need. I'll take care of it. I don't need the mama state, daddy state to take care of it anymore. Politis also explores instances of other governmental agencies arriving at these sites and conducting their own confidential investigations. In one example, both the FBI and National Guard engaged in a search for a missing child in 2013. A forest ranger that witnessed the exchange described it as two entirely different operations that seemed to have their own agendas. There was SIC active efforts to distance themselves from each other, FBI and National Guard, and us, National Park Service, and even the parents of the missing child.
That's horrible, man. I can't even imagine being a parent where this would happen. That's the worst. You just don't even know.
No. Worst nightmare.
It's horrible.
That is the biggest fear you have as a parent.
Yes.
Is to have your child missing and you have no idea what is even happening to them. And no way to save them. Because you know that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, where are you? The movie Prisoners, fantastic line by Hugh Jackman in that movie whenever he says, she's out there and she's wondering where I am. And that's every one of these stories. Terrifying.
Was that a good movie?
Oh, it's a great movie.
Prisoners? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, the guy that played Riddler in the movie Batman. It's a good movie.
Missing trends. The suspicious nature of this issue is in combination with the trends that David Politis documents are beyond a mystery. Politis noted that many of the instances occur near bodies of water around granite boulders. Additionally, there are strangely small distances of separation between the victims. Sorry, nervous drinking.
Paul Dano. That's what I was thinking.
Paul Dano.
Thank you.
This was the case for Stacey Harris case and Ronald Kirk. Both also adept outdoors people. In Stacey Harris case, she went only a short distance from the party she was riding with. She was also near a body of water, and the area around the cabin was littered with large granite boulders. Answers and closure. The story is only the tip of the iceberg and serves as a window into a few missing 411 cases. The sad reality is that there are a growing number of mysterious disappearances. You bastard.
Pop-ups.
In natural settings, although Politis' work has been scrutinized and some say the number of unsolved cases is not fucking statistically significant. Oh, wow. I think one missing person is
I think one missing child is significant.
Yeah. Politis has contributed immeasurable to the categorization of the issue and the growth of it in public consciousness. One can only hope that work of many, from volunteer searchers to content creators, can answer the question: what happened to these people? Why so often is it difficult to determine the cause of death? If a body is even found, missing 411 is a contentious subject with a very human face. Ultimately, only an answer could quell the public's curiosity and give the relatives and friends of the victims closure that they surely deserve.
You know, and in the Hunters movie, he talks about this one woman that was actually found, right? She had disappeared for I don't remember what length of time, but when they found her, she was naked, lying in a pool of water, and in the crime scene photos he's talking about, he because of the Freedom of Information Act, he saw them all. Her face was underwater, and there was a few things that he noted, but the thing that I remember is that her face was under the water in the photo when they found her. And then in the report, like when they actually found it, put out the report, all of the details were wrong about that. Her face wasn't underwater. She I don't remember what else the discrepancies, but there was many discrepancies between the report and the actual photo of when they found her. And he's like, why is there even a discrepancy? He never got an answer for it because they didn't respond after that. What are they not gonna answer that? Clearly there was something going on. Clearly something happened with that woman. And I don't know, man. The more I see these different cases, I see that the government is involved for some reason. It's like maybe in certain sites that might be close to something that we can't have anyone going near this area, or well, the FBI we'll search this side of the mountain. All right, you guys search that side, and we'll meet up at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, earlier when it said both parties, the National Guard and the FBI, purposely separated the search patterns.
Yeah.
In the investigation. It's just strange. Why would you not work together?
Gotta go vote yes real quick on this.
Is there a poll? We got a poll going.
Yeah.
The new poll in chat.
What's the poll?
Just
do you think there's government involvement in these types of cases? It's a great poll. And
click yes.
I just had to vote yes real quick because absolutely. I've been digging into this. Basically, when my mom left, and I just sat down and started ingesting information about this stuff.
I don't know if it's all government related. I know that the government is related to several.
Yeah.
Well,
a significant amount of them.
We just don't know why as of yet. There's not enough information.
All right. So this is at the end of Missing 411 UFO files, and these are 3 cases. Mark Strittmatter is the strangest because he is a hunter with 15 years experience in this area, knows it back and forth, got out of his car to hunt some elk, text his girlfriend, said, hey,
wasn't an older guy.
Wasn't an older guy. Text his girlfriend, said, hey, I thought I had it. I had the shot. I had everything. I get there, the elk is gone. It's like I got nothing. And I thought I hit the thing. And that was the last text. She doesn't hear from him. She drives out there. She sees the car is locked. His smokes are still inside, his medication. He took his pack and his gun. She clears off the snow of the car. She gets in the car because she knows where he hides the keys. Can't find him. Goes back, gets the sheriff. Don't find the guy. So we have another missing guy, which is like in this triangle area. Charles Gustafson, and then Carl Higdon, who is the abductee, who has drawings and everything. It's right next to Warren Air Force Base. It's right next to it.
Government.
Would you say that's like what, 20 miles from there?
Maybe, but the government knows something and they're not telling us. Now, a lot of these missing 411 cases could probably be explained, but it's just like UFOs. It's that 2%, it's that 5% that are just really strange.
Yeah.
And what could it be? Who knows? Who knows? But he got into abductions in this one. And, I think a lot of the abduction stuff is bullshit, but I think there are something happened to some people that I'm absolutely convinced was real, including Travis Walton. I think that guy's totally credible. Plus, they found that guy days later naked. Alive? Yeah. Well, Travis Walton. Yeah. They found him, look into his story. It is insane. Fire in the Sky. There's two movies you should watch. about Fire in the Sky. There's Fire in the Sky, the Travis Walton movie that came out in the early 90s, and there's Fire from the Sky, which is the documentary, I believe it was on TBS, from Randall Carlson. It's Randall Carlson's work.
Fire in the Sky based on a true story.
Yep.
Alien
Travis
Abduction,
Walton.
November 1975. All right, yeah. Travis Walton. Oh, okay, I found the movie. Nice.
So that's what you were talking about, Garrett. There's clusters, and there's sometimes they're close to bases. Now, bases are everywhere. They are. But there's always been strangeness with Yosemite. There have been UFO sightings in Yosemite. It's a weird place. It's a weird, the valley's fine, but when you start going up the Tuolumne Meadows and stuff, you're getting into a lot of volcanic area, which might be magnetic anomalies. Who knows? You're not far from I think it's Long Valley. There's a super volcano in California. Did you know that?
No,
I didn't.
There is one, and it could go off. It could go off still.
and California's just tempting fate.
Well,
I've
there's
driven
Mammoth
through this area in Snowflake. I've been through there. I was like, that sounds familiar, and I'm like looking at where it was, and I went up to the 4 Points from Tucson, and I drove up through Phoenix, and then I went out into the mountains, and it's like right before you get into Navajo, like their whole reservation, and that's a creepy area, man, and it's foresty.
Yeah,
It's not what you'd expect when you think Arizona.
Mammoth Mountain rumbles all the time, and there's Mono Lake that's got that little island that's risen up because it's a caldera. On the side of the mountain, a bunch of trees have recently just died because of the fumes. So they've been talking about that.
Island.
They've talked about that popping off for years and years since I was in junior high. But it will eventually happen. It will eventually happen.
You think Yellowstone's going sometime soon?
I hope not, or it's a bad day.
We're overdue, right?
Yeah,
supposedly
by a long shot.
It's a bad day for America.
They say every 500,000 years, and it's like 50, 60,000 years past now since it went off last.
It's a bad thing for
That's
the
why I
entire
didn't move
world
to
if
Idaho.
that goes off.
Oh yeah, the planet
is kind of screwed in that case. Like if we can't get our heads around a chemical spill with a train derailment, I don't know what we would do. It would just completely fall apart to post-apocalyptic scavenging and
look at
everything.
Katrina. Look at Katrina.
Wouldn't matter.
We knew Katrina was coming. We told people to leave, and they didn't leave.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because they couldn't. But like we told people to leave, and they didn't leave. The government was completely unprepared.
And the infrastructure
the infrastructure was not good, and the government cannot save you. If it's a big enough disaster, they cannot save you. When San Diego almost burned down, they couldn't do shit.
They in fact put you in more danger, it seems.
Yeah.
In a lot of these cases, when it's such a big problem that they're not capable of protecting you the way that they should.
No,
the way that that everybody thinks of, government, they're going to come in and save us.
Keep on raining, the levee's gonna break.
I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help.
Right.
Yeah. Go through life assuming that the government will never help you, and you'll be better off. Just help yourself. Have a bug out bag. We always when you're in San Francisco, you have a bug out bag because there's an earthquake, and then there would be like rioting and looting. I wouldn't worry too much about the earthquake. I'd worry more about the fall of San Francisco, which could happen at any moment.
I mean, there's rioting and looting right now, without destruction and earthquakes.
Did you see Austin?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Austin, man, that's where I was born. I went there every summer.
What were they
rioting? It did not used
over?
to be like this.
Who
knows? I don't.
They run out of weed.
No, that's the old Austin. Old Austin was like a cool, like hippie place, and it was like, we have leftists in Texas, but they're like the hippie people. They do whatever they want, and now it's just like a run-down socialist garbage heap.
Yeah,
and it
Austin
sucks because I love that place. I loved it. It was a good place to go. Not anymore.
It never even considered for 1 second moving there, ever, never.
No,
I wouldn't move to Dallas either.
It is a beautiful town, but sad.
Dallas sucks too.
It's all right. I drove through it once. Cities
What?
suck. American
Cities
cities suck now. If you want
Dude,
a
Austin is pretty, man.
it's all right.
Did you ever kayak down the river?
No.
The river's pretty cool, and they have the natural pool there. It's like ice cold water.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
It's a great place.
yeah, kayak. It was
Now it's got
nice.
bum piss all in it, so
Yeah, now I wouldn't go in that.
wouldn't go there
I didn't
now.
go in the river. I wouldn't even want to kayak in it.
Ugh.
No.
Even kayaking, you probably
There is nothing
risk hitting a needle somewhere.
I used to love going to cities and having fun.
Oh, the bats.
There's nothing appealing
Bridge
about
with the bats that fly out.
nothing appealing about it anymore. A bunch of people stacked on top of each other. Screw that.
Yep, I live in the
Um,
woods now.
yeah.
I'm happy about it.
Yep. I'm in my burbs. I like my burbies.
I moved out from the burbs to the country, so I'm in a burb in a country.
Ooh.
It's like
You're in a-
halfway.
You're in
Oh,
a-
country burb.
It's a
you're in a
country
hun-
burb. It's
you're
in
in a-
between the burbs and the country. It's like right there in the middle.
yeah. I'm close.
I'm
to
in a
country.
hamlet,
I'm close to a
I don't know
city.
what that means.
What is a hamlet?
like the smallest of the smallest.
Is that where you go crazy?
A hamlet?
No.
Is that a weird
mean-
Canadian term?
No, I think that's a global term.
Talk to yourself.
No, well, I mean, I
never
talk
heard
to
that
people
before.
online, so
It's a
Is that kind
Canadian
of what it's
bacon
called?
lit. That's what
Ghost
it
of
is.
your father comes.
Right. That's what it is.
It's a Canadian bacon lit. Vor Axelon for $20 says, was going to stay for the whole stream, but still have to catch it later tonight. My son wanted to watch Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That's totally understandable. So we're going to do that before bed. Hi, y'all. And I'm hungry for some more Forbidden Frontier. Thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm just hungry right now. I didn't have any dinner.
Me too. Me
Got to
too.
eat dinner.
I ate right before. I had 4 eggs and some chicken.
oh,
That
I
sounds
had cheese.
awesome.
Meat and clean.
I had chicken thing, whatever.
I'm worried for you.
I had chicken thing.
Chicken
That's all I
wings.
had.
Turtles.
I had
Okay.
chicken thing. I love lamp.
I had pizza earlier. It was delicious.
Ah,
Yeah.
screw you with your carbs.
Oh, I want.
I had that
pizza.
Friday. I had some
Amazing.
wonderful pineapple and jalapeno pizza Friday after Friday Night Tights. It was delicious.
Is that
If anyone
just to spite
has-
them all?
A keto
done talking
pizza
about it?
recipe.
I actually
Ah.
like it.
Send it to me.
If people don't like pineapple pizza, that's awesome. More for me.
Yeah, who cares? I don't know why people care.
Yeah.
Avocado.
Like,
I think it's a
a shit.
meme. It's a meme.
you
It's-
don't
it's
I don't
better
like
to-
it that much, but
I
I
think it's
perpetuate
like-
the meme.
Let's argue about something fun instead
Mhm.
of the real like shit for a minute.
Exactly.
I think that's I think it's a good. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to go at it in the pineapple pizza war.
Oh, you guys have fun.
Rabbit.
I'm sitting over here with my fancy outfit on,
There you
judging
go.
you both.
That's okay.
You need a pipe. Where's
Wouldn't
your
be the
pipe?
first time. Rabbit for
I don't have
$25.
one.
Check out the Bennington Triangle in Vermont. My ex-girl and I camped there once. Longest night of my life. Kept getting lost. Compass didn't work, and we were terrorized by something that circled the camp all night, grunting, crazy. Oh, I've heard stories like that.
Tons of those stories.
It was the wood booger.
It was a wood booger.
That's creepy.
Wood booger.
What is okay? Chat, help me. It was on Ancient Aliens. It is the Ural Mountains of Russia in the 50s and 60s. A group of hikers.
Pavlov, but not Pavlov. What is
Dyatlov something pass.
Yeah.
Something pass. Help me, chat.
Dyatlov Pass.
it?
Actually,
Dyatlov Pass.
We need to do a show on that.
Yeah,
that is
Pavlov.
some creepy.
I actually got that on the
creepy
list.
shit. Yep.
Got it on
Yeah.
the list.
That is a crazy story where
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, some
Oh,
Russian geologists, some
yeah.
communist Russian geologists went hiking in the Ural Mountains in a place that's basically called the death zone. Don't freaking go here zone. And they found them. They clawed their way out of their tents. They had radiation. Some of them had radiation burns and their faces were burned off. They were naked when they ran out. So something freaked them out so much in the snow when it's freezing. These are
They
experienced hikers
Ran.
to where they cut their way out of the freaking tent. And it was.
I think it was multiple tents, wasn't it?
Yeah, multiple tents, and there's
two.
pictures of the bodies and stuff.
It's
not
horrific.
pretty. It is not pretty.
You want me to read a little? I have a little summary.
Yeah.
Okay. After the group, the experienced trekking group from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, led by Igor Dyatlov, had established a camp at the eastern slopes of Kalat Sokol, a Russian SFSR of the Soviet Union. Overnight, something caused them to cut their way out of their tent and flee the campsite while inadvertently dressed for the heavy snowfall. Inadequately dressed for the heavy snowfall and sub-zero temperatures. After the bodies were discovered, an investigation by Soviet authorities determined that the 6 of them had died from hypothermia, while the other 3 had been killed by physical trauma. One victim had major skull damage, 2 had severe chest trauma, and another had a small crack in his skull. 4 of the bodies were found lying in running water in a creek, and 3 of those 4 had damaged soft tissue of the head and face. 2 of the bodies had missing eyes. 1 had a missing tongue, and 1 had missing eyebrows. The investigation concluded that a compelling natural force had caused the death. Numerous theories have put forward to account for the unexplained deaths, including animal attacks, hypothermia, an avalanche, katabatic winds. I don't know what that means. Infrasound-induced panic, military involvement, and some combination of these factors. Missing eyebrows, missing eyes. What?
Yeah, I think there's a military base located not too far away from that area or something like that. It's been a while since I've reread this story, but
a katabatic wind is a drainage wind, a wind that carries high-density air from a higher elevation down the slope under the force of gravity. So, like, really powerful wind going down a mountain. Okay, interesting.
Like smashing into them?
I guess so. Enough to pop their eyeballs out?
There's a similar story about
weird.
A scientist group.
Rip your tongue out?
Dyatlov Pass.
There's another Russian story that's very similar to this. Stuck on a mountain. They all are found dead except for one person. So that'd be cool to go into that one too.
Yeah, I suspect weird radiation stuff with that. That's
didn't mention anything about radiation.
It's Russia.
Well, in late 1959,
there was like there's indigenous people there that were living that were not. There was indigenous people who were not far away from there who lived there and were fine, but they also said this is a really dangerous, like that part of, I forgot what the name was by the indigenous people, but it basically was zone of death.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to hike to the zone of death?
Yeah, let's go up there.
No.
Yeah.
We have what's the tunnel near our house? Melissa and I were just looking at it. It's called the Devil's Sanctuary or some shit like that.
Sounds like a nice place.
Yeah, I'm like, do we want to go to some place called like You're Gonna Fucking Die Here? Maybe.
Nope.
I want to buy some land and call it the Zone of Death. Keep people off
so
it.
Nobody will buck it. Maybe, maybe like that's what we can call Comics Division's ranch when the shit goes down. The Zone of Death. And little Comics Division will come out with his rifle that's taller than him. Best giant story is the Giant of Kandahar. It's the most recent and credible, says Luis Suevas for $20. I am very familiar with the Giant of Kandahar.
I've heard of it.
Afghanistan soldiers or some soldiers fighting in Afghanistan had to go fight off a giant. Some of them died. They killed it and they took it home. I don't know if it's true. Like, could there be some weird shit in countries that we haven't really been to that are not super developed? Sure. We found a lot of weird shit in this country when the settlers came and they devoured most of it, including the mounds, these crazy mounds that were like, when I was a kid, what we were taught was this place was empty. It had some Indians. That was it. Then later on, it's like, what are these mound things they speak of?
Yeah.
And then you find out there was millions and millions of them, and they were geographic structures. And Poverty Point is like one of the biggest ones in Louisiana. I definitely want to go check that place out. But there's also Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, which I have been to, and it's crazy. My my birth mother used to work for the Grand Canyon, so she's really into the stuff I'm into. I think I got it from her. Basically, it's like genetically passed, the curiosity of the Southwest and ancient civilizations. She's totally into it, and she took me to that place. That was freaking amazing. We should go there, Garrett. It's not super far. If we go to Santa Fe, go to the proper Meow Wolf there, we'll go to Chaco Canyon.
Yes, I want to go to the original.
Oh, it's so cool.
They're putting another one in Texas.
Did I tell you the story? We went there. We went to Santa Fe. We went to visit my mom in Albuquerque. Then we went to Santa Fe and we're like, let's just see if we'll see George R. R. Martin. I fucking missed him by 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Like,
2 minutes.
Finish the book.
I know. That's all I wanted to say. No, I went out to go get keys to my, I left my keys in the car. Melissa had her keys. And for some reason I went back to get it. And she's like, yeah, you just missed George R. R. Martin.
Man.
I'm like, son of a bitch. And then I met him and he wouldn't shake my hand. So Josh Kelsey for $20. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Winter Ranger for $20. Y'all have to check out the book Tales from the Grid Square. It's a collection of the firsthand stories from military personnel. It covers ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, and Afghanistan, and everything in between. See, this is why I have my notebook out.
Tales from the, what was it again?
Grid Square.
Grid Square. There is a really cool, I'd have to look into it to tell the full story, a story about this outpost in the mountains that was haunted, and this group of Marines go to, they're stationed out there. They swap out every so often, and it's full of ghost happenstances. So that'd be a cool thing to go into. That's a great idea for an episode. See, like stuff like this is like you have the overarching topic of ghosts, but you could do all kinds of things under that. You could do like stories like that from the military, or stories from haunted houses and stuff like that. Like, that'd be cool. Like the Warrens. Do a whole episode. We could do multiple episodes on the Warrens.
Oh, we're never going to run out of material.
I'm never taking smudge sticks.
The thing
Get
is,
out of here, Mark.
like we're going to have to start adding, we're going to have to start. We're going to have to start at, burn sage, dude. Burn sage.
Doesn't work for me. I die every time.
You do? Yeah. Well, it's a stupid game. Okay. The Happy Plague Doctor for $20. Sergeant Tompkins disappeared in Afghanistan chasing down a giant with only his knife. Well, what's the lesson from that story, Happy Plague Doctor? Don't chase a giant with a knife. Bring your gun. Probably got 8 because a lot of the legends, there was 2 different. Okay, so Jim Vieira did a show called Chasing Giants. It was a History Channel show. It only lasted 1 season. L.A. Marzulli really gets into it too. Megalithomania will get into it as well. If you want good lectures on giants, go to the Megalithomania channel and just search Megalithomania giants, and you'll get about 4 or 5 of lectures that are really good to listen to in the background while you're doing something. And they just go over the documentation of giants while, especially in the 1800s and the 1900s, but with the settlers too, that were reported in papers. And then they start talking to Native Americans who have tons of legends and have fought them. And they were, some were like the Ohio people were considered to be kings and leaders of men and wise. And then there was the cannibals that just ate people and were savage and terrible, and that's why they all were killed. But they were remnants of something else. Like they were clearly a remnant race of something else. That's the way the legends portray it.
Bone tomahawk popped in my head. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
It's crazy.
That movie.
It's interesting to listen to. Whether you believe it or not, that's entirely up to you. Rob Robinson for $100. Cheers.
Wow.
Thank you. Oh, that was good. Do that one again.
Toasty.
There you go.
Toasty indeed.
Years ago. Is that what he's saying? Toasty?
Toasty.
Kind of sounds like Az getting violated.
Toasty.
Well, you get your
That
voice.
was great timing.
There was a snowstorm. Okay, years ago, I was walking down a street in Columbus, Ohio. There was a snowstorm. No one was out. It was beautiful around 10 p.m. at night. A snowy piece of artwork. I was walking to the bar on High Street, 6 blocks away from St. Michael's Church of Selby Avenue. Is there more of this?
Yeah, I saw more come in.
Okay, let me find it.
I just bought that book, by the way, the military stories. It's on its way.
It's
I'm gonna
right
read that.
beside it.
It's right beside it. I sprinted after this woman thinking something was wrong. It feels like there's something more to this. Is there another part? This feels like part 3.
I didn't see.
I've only I can check.
I didn't see more. But you're right. It feels like it's. Where did the woman come from?
Let me check. Let's put a pin in that for a moment.
Well, first off, that was another $100. So,
Yeah.
Holy
Rob.
moly.
Rob.
Rob.
That's why I want to
Toasty
do it
for you.
justice.
Wait,
Rob,
hold on.
Thank you.
We got to get it going. Whatever it was.
Oh yeah, the first one just starts off
No.
at I sprinted.
There's
Well, we can
Nothing.
piece it together. We can piece it together.
Nothing in
he-
between unless
Hold
you
on,
forgot
there's
to send
3.
it.
There's 3. I'm seeing
Wait.
3.
I only. Well,
If
the
you go
first
to
one-
StreamYards and then go to comments, you can see all 3 of them up there. They're not
No,
in
because
order.
the first one was the 200 he read
Right.
earlier, and then
All right. Well, I'll just read them. And if we get the other one,
I think we
cool.
can piece it together with
Piece
this
it in.
last one. though,
Rob,
if you read
if
it.
you want to piece them together for me before the show is over, email me, Gary@nerdrotic.com, and you can give me the whole thing there, and I'll read it. I'll keep an eye out for it. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. I'll get my Gmails up.
X-Ray Girl. You know what's really weird?
X-Ray
I was-
girl, she's weird.
I was talking about EMF readers. Somebody in my locals chat while we were playing Phasmophobia said that they got an EMF reader from somebody in their family for a Christmas gift. And I was like, oh, I really want one. So I went on to Amazon just now during the show to look for that book, the ghost book, and they're suggesting EMF readers to me.
They read your mind now.
That is creepy.
They can read your mind.
Stop.
Yeah.
No,
But I will
I
buy
don't
that.
like it.
I will
like
buy it. There's 2
So,
of them. It's a
you know
package.
the electro-
I'm gonna buy it.
Dude, you're
know
too
the-
good,
okay.
Amazon.
I also have a great EVP story.
So you gotta
EVP
save
story.
these. Save
From
You gotta
my
save these.
from my
Hold
I
on.
will. It's from my OG San Francisco basement in-law podcast studio that I only did like 2 podcasts from before I moved it upstairs. But it's like it was the I would say the forerunner of this room. And I was down there with my kid, and we were he just liked to record himself. So I was playing the bass, and he was like shaking this can of pennies, and wow, it was. So I still have it. I'll find it. It's on one of my drives, and when we do the show, I'll find
Yo,
it
yeah, you
and
gotta
gonna
play
need
it
that.
for you because it is
We're gonna need
clear
that.
as day. Holy shit! So
We're gonna
and
need
that's
that.
when I started the guy really wondering about my house in San Francisco. I'm like, oh man. Because we used to have a lot of weird stuff happen in that house. Weird. We had a ghost cat. We definitely had 100.
Kinda
Okay.
cool.
Yes. We had, we went to London and we had these 2 buff gay boys named, I can't, Audith and somebody else. And they did faux plaster in our house. You know, it's like, it looks like plaster, but it's fake plaster. But those gay boys really knew how to knock it out.
Yeah.
So they're there knocking out our faux plaster. And they call and they said, hey, what should we feed your cat? And we're like, our cats are at the cat hotel. And all, no, we see a gray tabby, like not a tab, but a gray cat that looks tabby-ish or whatever. I don't know if that's orange or whatever. They described a cat. And we're like, dude, there's no cat there. There's absolutely no cat there. Now, I have always seen the cat out of the corner of my eye, like always. Like it was for the longest time. Now, in this floor's foundation of our house, there was little cat prints
Cool.
that went right to my in-law.
Like,
And yeah, we saw Ghost Kitty for years, and then Ghost Kitty just disappeared, you know, for the
Went
last
to the
5 or
other
6 years in the
side.
house, went to the other side, probably finally crossed over. Well, I think I'm wondering because it was right around the time my cat Zorro died. And maybe Zorro
Zoro's like, it's time to go.
Come
my
on,
friend.
bro.
We've been
Zorro-
hanging out.
Leave him alone.
I'm leaving. Come with me.
Yep.
They probably recognize each other.
Ghost cat.
Ghost cat.
Zorro is still buried in my backyard.
There's a movie idea somewhere. Sorry, please.
Yeah, I think so. No, it's okay. I was gonna bury him in a pet cemetery, but then they're like, it's $1,000. I'm gonna fuck that shit. I'll dig a hole in my backyard. So I did. Rob Robinson for $100 and another. This is $200. We're gonna read it all. Years ago, I was walking down the street. Sounds like a song. Years ago, I was walking down the street in Columbus, Ohio. There was a snowstorm. No one was out. It was beautiful. Around 10 p.m. at night, a snowy piece of artwork. I was walking to the bar on High Street. Yeah, but I want to read the whole thing again.
Okay.
This sounds like the
away
beginning.
from St. Michael Church, off of Selby Avenue. I sprinted after this woman, thinking something was wrong. When I arrived, she was gone. No footprints in the snow. Granted, I had a couple of beers. Still, I saw her in this dress in the middle of a snowstorm.
So the middle, we'll piece together. That's what I said. We could piece it together. So
I don't know. I feel like that might be one and two.
Saw a girl wearing a dress in a snowstorm. Like, what are you doing? Like, clearly,
I gotta. Hey, are you okay?
Let me help you out. He goes after to try to help her. She's gone.
Gone.
That's crazy. That's creepy.
How many stories have you heard like that, though? Tons.
Yeah.
Was there granite nearby, Rob? Was there granite?
Are you missing?
Rob, more importantly, was she hot?
That's the real question.
That's the real question.
Asking the real questions here
was
on
she
the show.
A ghost 10? Hey, no, I would, for one, a couple of beers isn't going to make you hallucinate.
No.
Agreed.
No.
All right. It's just not. It's just not.
No.
That's insane.
Carter on the Streamlabs side, circumventing Mama Susan. We appreciate that for $120.29. Very specific. Hi, Forbidden Frontier. Which one mystery would each of you want to learn the solution to and why? Thank you so much for everything you all do. And I'll be seeing you in England later this year. Hell yeah. May your keys open many doors and your dreams reveal the truth. Oh, I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Adam,
I dig it.
you got one mystery to solve. What is it?
What the pyramids actually did. That's what I want to know.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And he's gone.
No, I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm still here.
you're like, that's good. Poof.
No,
disappeared.
I'll tell you if I'm going to leave. Sometimes I'll turn the camera off because I don't want you to see me picking my nose or something. You know?
Thank goodness.
Yeah. I mean, I could show you. I don't give a fuck, but
Oh
Wood
my
booger.
God,
I was
Garrett.
thinking about you.
Wood
Garrett. Well, we know what Garrett's mystery is he just picked it right there.
Right there. Tastes
What's
pretty
the
good.
mystery? One mystery you want it solved.
What happens after we die?
Oh,
That's a good one too. Damn.
Oh.
That's a good
The
one.
ultimate mystery.
It's a good one. Well, we're all gonna find out.
At some point.
X-Ray Girl.
I have a hunch, but I don't know.
Why did you vote
Okay.
for Trudeau?
Zing.
I would love to see actual proof tangibly of all these sightings of Bigfoot, Yeti, all this, or the Megalodon mystery of that. So something around those creatures. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, your little dog came in, poked his.
I know.
So yeah, you talking about animals?
Hi.
Well, all the good ones have been taken. So, do I want to know what is a woman? No.
What do women want?
Hey.
Why
Yeah.
are you gay? No. I want to know: is it aliens or Atlantis? Aliens or Atlantis? I want to know the truth. Was there an ancient civilization?
I also can't help but want to know what
Advanced.
happened before the Big Bang.
That's a great one too.
What existed?
For me, it was either what
if I
happens
told you
after we die
this
or what
is
happened at the
happens-
beginning.
This is what happens before the Big Bang.
Again?
So it's gonna
Do it
And
again.
again?
It's
We
gonna
just do it
explode
again.
and The Wheel of Time.
Again and again.
That would be
and
rad
again.
if it is like the Wheel of Time and we just keep rolling over and restarting.
Battlestar
Ooh.
Galactica. What's happened before will happen again.
Also, are there other universes?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Stephen Hawking seemed to believe there is.
Michio Kaku thinks there is.
There
too.
is other universes in this multiverse we call our universe.
Sorry, Em.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Any excuse to use that.
And time travel.
Well, it's Kang. Obviously, it's Kang.
Yeah, he wrote it all.
Yeah, you're right.
He put
What
us
is
together.
Kang?
Well, Kang, it's really
Is that the new
Jennifer
bad guy?
Lawrence. It's really Jennifer Lawrence. Before Kang,
Right. Jennifer Lawrence.
then it's Kang.
It's
and now-
Jennifer Kang. It's
Yeah.
Jennifer Kang. So,
Yeah.
for sure. Matt Stick for $20. Thank you. Fire Quarter Black Garrett for not getting Raiders reference. I did.
I know. I deserve it. I deserve it.
He's not going to leave though. I can fire him. He just won't leave.
I won't leave.
Dick Shooter for $20. My
Oh,
10-month my 10-month-old that needs to be a comic. Dick Shooter. Best shot in the West. My 10-month-old daughter hasn't pooped in 10 days. If the world ends in the next few days, you'll know why. Dude,
It's not good.
that's not
That's
good.
not good.
Sounds like she's back up. You know,
Real
she's
back
backed up, man.
Or ting.
Oh, did you
Give her
just
some-
travel
give her some
recently?
plums.
Yeah.
Change your diet.
Or a lot of grapes. Grapes
Grapes? Is that?
help. Yeah.
Oh, help.
Yeah, they help.
Yeah.
Orden
you know,
Royce for
loosen it up.
$20. If the stories coming from the Appalachian Trail in the last 20 years or so are any indication, the serial killer / cult theory is closer to home than people want to believe. I need to look into that. I didn't know. Is there I mean, serial killers are still around. It's weird how like they used to be everywhere and now we don't hear about them much, but they're still out there. There's a serial killer on Interstate 8. There has been for years. They just don't know what to do. Interstate 8 in California, by the way. California runs through the Salt Flats.
I think about
Not
that
8.
too.
Why was I thinking 80? Sorry, not 8, 80.
I think about that too. Why do they used to be such a cultural touchstone in America
Sensation.
and like in the West was like serial killers, how their minds worked, how they were all connected and all this stuff. But now it's just kind of, you don't ever hear about it. Is it because I don't watch TV and they still show that stuff? I don't know. But
No,
yeah,
it
you
just
just don't
makes-
hear about it. You just hear about the
makes-
same ones. Ted Bundy, Ted Bundy, Ted Bundy, Ted Bundy.
Well, MK Ultra, and then we see the FBI going to these places. Maybe they're
Is there
checking on an
something-
asset. They're like, "Hey, listen, we told you to keep it down, dude. We let you live out here,
Yeah.
you know, do
Dude,
whatever
what's
you
going
want."
on with Ohio, right? Katrina was all over the news. It was a major disaster,
Mhm.
but that was all to own a president that the media didn't like. Because remember, before Trump, Bush was the devil, was the
Right.
absolute
Yeah.
devil. And you know what? I agreed. I totally agreed.
He's not a good
But
president.
not a good president. But now he's like, oh gosh, golly, we like him. He hangs out with Clinton and Obama because they're all part of one fucking party. So if this was any other situation, if the Orange Man was president right now, Ohio would be all over the fucking news.
Yep,
all of them.
absolutely.
But Biden denied their help. So now what?
And then Trump went there.
But
And then
he
they
wants,
decided to give him some money.
but he wants to tweet
because
about
Trump went there.
hotel fees. Hotel fees. We got to stop the
What a
hotel
moron.
fees.
What a moron.
So sick of it.
Do you know who introduced all those fees and taxes in cities? What party runs most cities?
Democrats.
I think
Did
so.
I get it?
All
get it right?
cities.
You got it right.
I'm going to correct you. All cities.
Except for Houston. I
All
don't think they
cities.
run Houston.
You got it right.
Houston's still got a Republican mayor.
All right. My mom just texted me, and she
Did you get on the plane?
Did she
She
tell you to
wor-
go home before the
No,
street
she-
lights come on?
so she royally screwed up. So I
Oh,
told you
no.
I told you already that she thought it was 10 a.m. It was 3:30, not 10 a.m. Now she's just informed me that it was in fact Tuesday morning. Is her flight. So
no.
she's actually getting on a plane to come or a train to come back here.
I
Why
hope she's
not?
okay. I
Why?
hope she's okay
She-
on the,
so
on the
she's
way
gonna
home.
she's gonna be here in like 4 hours because the train doesn't because it's
Oh,
late.
poor
Oh
So
my
thing.
God, this is so
Oh.
late.
but I have to drive to go get her.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Go take a nap.
I'm gonna go because I'm pretty tired, and I have to get up in 4 hours to pick up my mom.
Well, you're at 2 hours anyway, so it's
Yeah.
And we are at 2 hours, so it's kind of perfect timing anyway. But that was fun. Thank you for even bringing me into the subject because I had no idea about it. So I kind of did a little deep dive. So I want to watch the UFO version too. That's
it's on.
We'll circle back to it. That's what's
Really?
great
It's
about
on-
all these topics.
It's on
You can
Prime
do it
Video.
multiple times.
It's like
Cool.
$3, $3-4 on Prime Video.
Tomorrow, Base Staff Monday. Garrett's on there. He's that way. It's always a lot of fun. Tune in. You guys are awesome. Thanks, chat. Gary.
Cheers,
see you next
brother.
week. And
Give my
next
best
week.
to Mom. I hope she's okay.
I will.
Bye.
Mama
She'll be
Crigler.
back. She'll be back
Okay.
here. She'll be
That
good.
sucks.
Hope she's
She
safe
might-
on that train ride.
I don't. She's just gonna have to leave too before even Base Staff, so she couldn't even join us. But because it's Tuesday morning. Anyway, peace out, guys.
Take
See you,
care.
man.
Yeah, it's Monday over there, isn't it? I keep forgetting.
Is it?
Mhm.
Oh wow. They're in the future.
They're in
Oh,
the
yeah.
future. They're in the future. All right. Where was I? Matt Stick for $20. The government hates you and resents your freedom. You are not wrong. Hand Gibber for $20. Oregon has a bunch of creepy lava tubes that go on for miles. Yes, because Oregon used to be over the hot spot that is the Yellowstone caldera. That is the strange thing about the Yellowstone caldera. It is a hot spot on the earth that doesn't move, but the crust does.
So just like
So the calderas of the past go all the way into the Pacific Ocean, and they actually travel through California. So they start Pacific Ocean, hit California, hit Oregon, hit parts of Nevada.
I'm a big Dumbo. What's a caldera?
A caldera is where the lava comes out. So
It's
it
a
creates-
large depression
Oh,
formed
okay.
when a volcano erupts and collapses.
There's a
So like
giant
a pimple. You poke a
Yes,
pimple
there's
in
a
it.
yeah.
there's a giant caldera in New Mexico, where the mountain that Santa Fe is on, that also could be a volcano that goes off someday because it's got a rise in the middle of it. They usually have like a little like a mound.
So it's like
yeah.
and then back up in the middle.
Mm-hmm. It's
Hmm.
going up.
Interesting.
It's
That would make
going
sense
up.
because the peak, like this, right? And it collapses and it just kind of like collapses in like that with the peak still in the middle. That makes sense.
Test site for $20. Gary and Garrett, in Texas, there were homeowners driven out of their house by constant Bigfoot activity. There's tons of Bigfoot activity in
What?
Texas. Yes. I know I keep mentioning the channel, but Bob Geimlin gives the address in his vid and on-site investigation episode. Hell, yeah, I would.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to Gimlin, he does really great. He's a storyteller, so he tells stories of the missing 411, of Bigfoot sightings, of the lions of Tanzania. Like really, he's a really good storyteller. So I highly recommend Bob Gimlin.
Our rural juror for $9.99. Why is Crigler dressed like grandpa? Like my
He's
grandpa.
from the future
'Cause he
and
is
the
your
past
grandpa.
at the same time.
He is your grandpa. WG for $10. Gary, is pineapple pizza a forbidden frontier? No, it's one I go to often. Rough Drafter for $9.99. Gary, have you or any other member of ever listened to the podcast called Mysterious Universe? It's hosted by two Aussie guys and tackles everything from aliens to ghosts to psychic phenomena. Check them out. I do listen to Mysterious Universe. I do. Medium super chats. Oh, I read that. There's medium, there's large, there's small, and there's PP. No, there's no PP.
Small people.
Thank you, small PP. It makes me think of South Park. A PP. We got the PP in the water park. The PP.
The peepee.
The PP. And Man Bear Pig kills
Man
him.
Bear Pig.
Yeah. The
Hey,
streaming
that's a
wars.
whole episode we could do. Man Bear Pig.
Man Bear Pig. Yeah. Thank you for the entertainment. Keep it up, Gary. You should read the book Spirits of San Antonio, South Texas. I read and went ghost hunting with my son. There's tons of ghosts. There's ghost walking tours here, but there is in San Francisco too.
EMF readers. We got to get them. We got to get all the little tools of the trade.
Oh, I want a temp gun.
Yeah, you get a temp gun. I'll get an EMF.
You want a good walking tour? When we're in the UK, we will go on the Jack the Ripper walking tour.
Ooh.
Yes.
It is good. It is really good.
That creeps me out.
Smoking Man Vibes for $7.99. Australian. Hey, humans. How do you explain the lack of ancient structures in Australia? The indigenous people claim they have been land for 60,000 years. there isn't structures, but there is a lot of mythos that leads back to the OG, to an original civilization. Australia's been cut off for a long time, but there is Egyptian hieroglyphics in Australia. Yes, there is. So, yeah, I don't know. There's tons of weird structures and circles in South Africa. But there's no really, outside of Chaco Canyon, which is still relatively new, up until very recently, the megalithic structures we had were up in New England with the dolmens. And now there's supposedly a wall in Montana, but we don't have, for the most part, here in America, all we have is mounds. And you don't have mounds, but you have the Aboriginals who have DNA that's shared with people in the rainforest, man. So
well, it makes sense with South Africa and Australia and South America. We're all Pangea, all connected.
Yeah. Well,
and
Australian indigenous people have the strongest connection to the Denisovans. So, ancient cellar for $119 or 119 Norwegian krona. Thank you, Gary. I'm 47 and just bought the re-release Reebok Pump basketball sneaker. About to get the 1992 flavor, but I have a doubt. Should old men like us wear flashy high tops? Does it look a lot out of place? Wouldn't you just buy those to collect them? You'd want to wear them.
Wear them.
Where the fuck you
high
want?
Tops, man. I'm all about those high tops.
What should old men wear? Whatever the fuck they want. We lived this long. That's what I say.
Exactly.
Bobcat for $5. Have any of you looked at the Lore Lodge? He covers the missing 411 cases with far more effort and accuracy than Dave did.
I do like the Lore Lodge. I found him recently this week, and what I like about the Lore Lodge is he goes into it and he says the facts. He doesn't put his own speculation onto it, and he goes down the explanation routes. He goes okay, well this isn't necessarily paranormal because of mountain lions in the area, and he'll show the map and all this stuff. So I like him. I just found him.
I tell you what, though, you can't really rely on the mountain lion. I grew up, when I was younger and I was in SoCal, it was, especially in San Diego, it was pretty sparse. There wasn't a lot of houses. All the suburban neighborhoods were just starting to be planned and built. So it was still tons of country. We had mountain lion freaking footprints in our front yard. I never saw one.
Never seen ever, them. Yeah.
Ever. And I used to run around in those fields in the desert. We used to have an adobe structure. It's still there. If anybody's in the area, tell me if it's still there. There was an adobe structure that was from the 1800s. You can see from my house. And it was a stagecoach stop. So there's a place called Stagecoach Park near La Costa, California. An apartment building was built around it, but they were supposed to fence it off to protect it, but you can't get in and see it. So I haven't seen it in years. If they tore it down, that's fucking terrible. But there used to be we used to find arrowheads everywhere. I used to see fucking rattlesnakes and coyotes. Never saw a motherfucking mountain lion ever. And they were all over the place.
Mountain lions are that way.
Yeah.
Sneaky.
Yep. Western Civilization for $10. In your band, Woodburger, Gary would play the bell in artistic way. An art bell, if you will. Good old art bell. The ghost art bell. X-Ray Girl playing Innocent. She is a master, says Eric K for $2. Of what? We don't know. Follow the Italian guy for 10 Canadian pesos. Hello, everyone. X-Ray Girl, you look pretty as always. Simp. When it comes to missing 411, it's weird and spooky. When hiking in the wilderness, be armed. Yes, and David says that. He's like, if you're going to go hiking, carry a piece all the time. Laws be damned, protect yourself. Yeah.
Buddy system, carry a piece.
Satsusama for 10 Chilean pesos. Thanks for keeping me sane the last few years. Greetings from, it's Chilean. Swiss francs. I saw CHF, so I just assumed. Greetings from Switzerland. So that's a Swiss franc. Franc. Thank you. Bubba Doom 1 for $5. I'd love to hear you guys have a conversation with L.A. Marzulli and the great John B. Wells. I would die to talk to both of them. It'd be great. I love John B. Wells. And I love L.A. Marzulli. His Watcher series and his Hunt for the Nephilim series are fun. And I say that as not a super religious person. He is. He comes from a religious angle. But his investigation work, Watchers 6 is his best work. That's where he follows around Brian Forster with the elongated skulls, and they get access to this area that's insane. It's just covered in bones that aren't touched. It's so insane. It's in Peru. So I think you can rent it
underground
on Amazon. No, they're fucking they were buried, but they got dug up by treasure hunters who didn't give a fuck about the skulls.
And
but there's just this entire race of people with elongated skulls without the cradle head
head binding.
There's no suture. There's no it's like they were born that way. It's crazy. Accident seller for 59 Norwegian krona. Why is everyone saying quarter black Garrett? He's clearly 3/4 white Garrett. That's an old one though. Yeah. Well, we need to focus on the black part because we are obsessed with race. We are a culture obsessed with race.
Yes. It's not a funny name unless you focus on the black part.
Some part of Adam wants that probe, says RK for $2. You're not wrong. John Cunningham for $10. Been meaning to tell you guys a few weeks ago while delivering DoorDash order, I saw a falling star. It looked just like a green laser pointer going down a wall. It was the day after the 50,000 euro comet. Yeah, comets bring friends. Big meteors bring friends. I've seen green meteors before though.
Yeah.
Go out to Joshua Tree in the middle of the night. It's insane.
It's the fire that whatever the minerals and makeup of those are, they burn off and they burn different colored light.
Sebastian Anon for $5. If you ever have guests on, one suggestion will be Wendigoon. He's covered these types of topics and a pretty cool dude. Yes. We are making a list of potential guests.
Wendigoon is really cool. Really cool dude. Yeah, if I was going to say watch a channel, Wendigoon, Mr. Ballin is really great too. And Bob. That we said earlier.
Thorfinier for $10. Love watching y'all every Sunday evening. When are we going to see Eddie Bravo on the show? Hashtag look in Tolt. Okay. Eddie Bravo on the list. Bobcat for $5. Missing 411 aren't really connected. Yes, at least 5 were mundane murders, no different than those kids in the tracks in Arkansas. Well, like I said, some of them I feel like they can be explained, but there's other ones that are really fucking weird. Really weird. But I have no doubt, though, like I have found some that have been explained. I don't think he's ever said. That's why he's never really reached conclusions. He's looking for a pattern. He's looking for a pattern. That's what cops do. Gary should check out the Real Praveen Mohan YouTube channel. He has tons of videos on ancient temples in India and other parts of Asia. Yeah, we need more stuff specializing in India, Mr. Picture. Thank you for the 5 British pounds, because that is an old ass culture that's way more open than China. Fortune and Glory for $9.99. All hail. By the way, I have a good story. 16 years ago, a ghost tried to drop a painting on my head at my wife's college dorm. The angle and proximity were impossible. I'm still spooked about it to this day. Well, maybe the ghost had the hots for your wife.
Yeah, trying to take you out.
The Singing Tigs for $2. Why files on the Egyptian Grand Canyon stuff? What the fuck? Yeah, that's an old story that Jim Vieira has talked about. I will check it. We get the Y files on. We'll get them on. We'll get everybody on. Just can't do it all at once. But we'll get people on very soon. X-Ray Girl's on top of it. Right, X-Ray Girl?
Yes.
See?
Of course I am.
She's always on
this
top.
This list is getting longer.
When she's not, never mind. I'm not going to leave that joke.
Wow. You can make some a remark about Mark.
I was. When she's not on top of Mark, she's on top of everything else. I'm so getting sued one of these days.
There's proof on the tubes.
Proof on the tubes. Dr. Devoet for $5 Australian. Quarter black, the country, Burbkin. The Burbkin.
The Burbkin.
I love that.
That's where I live. The Burbkin.
Hey, we got like deer. We got pigs. We got, I think it's pigs or it's armadillos.
Hogs.
Something.
You got hogs around there probably.
Yeah, something is digging up the ground in our front yard and it's like leaving like these little divots about this big. So something's doing it every morning. I'm about to put a camera out there.
Do it.
Dog.
Maybe.
There's something in your
give it a home
front porch.
Well, the squirrels are like they are obnoxious here. The squirrels are crazy.
Could be rabbits, maybe, possibly rabbits. Got a lot of rabbits.
Yep.
Hogs, I feel like you would notice. There'd be bigger.
Yeah, it'd be bigger hole. So maybe it's an armadillo.
Because the hogs we got here are massive and they're a problem. So they shoot them out of helicopters.
Yeah,
it's totally fine. You just like mow them down because we have such a problem.
Primark Vulcan for $4.99. Have you checked out the haunted train tracks yet since you've moved to San Antonio? Not yet, but I know about them. I definitely know about them. That's a weird story about the bus that was on the train tracks and it got moved. It just moved. Was it a bus? It was a bus,
I don't know this story. What? That sounds awesome.
Look it up. Aspererpy for $10. A book called Reversing Herman talks about the Nephilim from a Christian perspective. I don't think you need to be a Christian to enjoy it. If you are a Christian, it's mind-blowing. Well, the Nephilim are just what the Christian perspective is women and angels. The other perspective is maybe watchers who were Atlanteans and women, or some genetic effing around. Who knows? What are people's thoughts on the Prime Directive? Christian Wolf for $1.99. I believe in the Prime Directive. I do. I think it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, it's probably good. Yeah.
Picard season 3 is good. Drunken Throat Punch for $10. Hey Gary, did you ever hear about the guy who lost the guy that got lost and he was found in a different state? He was lost for like 6 months and he got no memory of anything that happened to him. Yes, I do remember that guy.
Yes.
And they found him randomly. Yeah, that made good news. That was weird.
This is like Men in Black stuff almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's a weird story. Thousands of miles or hundreds of miles away from home. They found him in some track suit or something.
Yeah, completely different clothes.
Cool.
Yeah, completely different clothes.
No memory of what happened.
Coco for Kosh for $5. I am on good terms with Dr. Shock's wife. If you want an intro, I could probably help you navigate getting an invitation with him. I would love to talk to Dr. Shock. Love that guy. And he really likes his wife, and I like that. Talks about her a lot. Dr. Shock is it's you need to communicate. We can't always be on side. So he's an academic with an open mind. Like that's what we need. I mean, I am as pissed as anybody at the academic structure. I think it's fallen apart. I almost think it's useless. But when you do have one that steps out of line and is an open mind, it's like that's what we need. We need 1,000 more Dr. Shocks. The Grizzly for $10. You guys should invite bedtime stories on this. His channel is really good, spooky, paranormal stuff. I'm glad you made this a series. Loving it so far. Cheers, Grizzly. And we will do that. Andrew Odette for $4.99. The lack of clusters in Michigan or the central U.S. is odd. Is it Minnesota or Michigan? What's MI? No, Minnesota is MN. So MI is Michigan. Michigan is so woody and there's so many stories of Bigfoot here. I wonder what it's probably because nobody lives in Michigan anymore. I'm just kidding. I wonder why some areas.
Yeah, they all moved to Texas.
Yeah, they all moved to Texas. What do you think of the Oregon vortex, David Nelson? I know of it. I don't know about that though. I think about Skinwalker Ranch, and I know that Skinwalker Ranch season 4 comes out in April, and they're doing a tour too, Garrett, just like the Ancient Alien guys.
Really?
The Skinwalker Ranch guys are going to do a tour.
We got to go.
Crash 6674 for $10. John B. Wells is on the Caravan to Midnight show. I remember when that show started. Because it started right around the time I sold my comic shop, and he was on Art Bell. He said something. Coast to Coast. said something a little politically incorrect, and he was getting more attention and better ratings than George Norrie. So he drove George Norrie, had him sacked because John B. Wells was the closest in interview style and voice style to Art Bell, John B. Wells, who should have been the replacement for Art Bell, not George Norrie, but George Norrie stabbed him in the back. So he went back in the early days and created his own network called Caravan to Midnight. Has had multiple episodes how Dallas was the center of the George Bush Sr. CIA crime empire. Yep. He's based as hell, by the way. And he's the voice you hear in JFK. The voiceover. He's the voiceover in the movie JFK. Yeah. Interesting missing case breakdowns of people getting too close. Yeah, I haven't listened in a little while, but I will. I subscribe. I do. I've been subscribed to Caravan to Midnight since almost day one. Luis Suevis for $10. Two potential guests or collabs are Mr. Balin and Wendigoon.
Mr. Ballin and Wendigoon.
Mr. Ballin. Why did I say Balin? Vev, $5.
I'd love to have those guys on.
The only Loch Ness monster that X-Ray Girl believes in is Mark the Cyborg and has in his pants. Does he have the Loch Ness monster in his pants? That's impressive.
That's a secret between him and I.
NWA Ants for $2.
So, yes.
Compare the map of the U.S. to cave system. Hail. And I got that one. Tricky for $10. A pretty good explanation for Dyatlov Pass came out the past couple of years, covered most of the questions and cause of death and strangeness. Yeah, I saw it. I didn't buy it. It's way too much time has passed, and you can come up with 1,000 stories. I feel the same way about Roswell. I say the earliest stories are the most accurate when it comes to that, when you're closer. The Paladin, $10. Gary, if you ever end up driving Lafayette, Louisiana on I-10, come up my comic game shop to chat nerdy and paranormal stuff. I love it all. Sanctuary Games and Comics, 1 mile from the I-10. I will. Well, I mean, is Poverty Point off I-10? I don't know. I will be driving east on I-10 to Florida, right? That's where I want to go eventually this year.
Yeah.
Grew up 8 miles from East. Is it Palestine or Palestine? And parents
I've heard it both ways.
Still live there. Train was on fire for over 20 miles. Engineers reported and were told to keep going. John Snyder,
Wow.
unfucking believable.
That is disgusting.
Uncle Sam for $9.99. I have to come to follow anything the government says or what history says with allegedly. They have lied about everything and changed things to their needs. Hail. I agree. Trucker Rob for $5. Gary, some people on Twitter are trying to get a hold of you about a movie trailer. Definitely not trying to derail you. Movie Nefarious or something. Nefarious. Okay. I will check it out. I mean, I was on Twitter like right before the show. Right before the show. What are we looking at time-wise here?
We're at 2:20.
2:20. 8 more minutes. Okay, 8 more minutes. Let's get as much done as we can.
So I do have a picture of the cavern or the caves.
Go for it.
Yeah, let me bring it up real quick. I mean, there's some in Texas here, which weren't on the other map, but that does correlate. Relates. Look at all that over here. Pretty empty in the middle. A lot over here.
Interesting.
It is interesting. It's the cave people from Time Machine.
It is. There's more than that in Texas, though.
Yeah, this must be like major cave systems and not just.
There's a lot more than that. There's like little ones all over Texas.
There's tons of them.
Limestone. Dick Shooter for 1111. Don't worry. This has been happening for a while. She's taking her medicine. The death of the planet is on a countdown.
Oh no.
Giant the World Ender for $5. When I was 15, I saw a deer with a man's face when driving home past the local park. I shat myself. I would too.
That is
that's a Wendigo.
So the only question I'll ask is, were you on anything? Okay. El Berzadente on the Streamlabs side for $10. How find How you find mountain lions? Put up a big enough cardboard box. The mountain lion, like all cats, cannot resist the cardboard box and will sit in it, and you will find it.
That's cute.
Do your homework in the woods, and it'll lay on top of it. You'll find it every time.
Seller for 599 Norwegian krona. Thank you. Wow. My dad was a captain on a cargo ship, and one night in the middle of the Pacific, he and the workers saw a UFO pass by and scan the ship with lights. He didn't report it to HQ. It was the day before New Year's Eve. Filipino crew was scared shitless. Yeah. Columbus saw UFOs. Like, the UFOs are real. They're absolutely fucking real. We've been seeing them for thousands of years. They're on cave art. They're in paintings. The stories have gone down through mythology. We've got video. We've got sightings. And even if 1% of them is real, that's 1% that we know. And it's more than that, I think. Goose for $4.99. In the UK and near me is the real location for Godric's Hollow from Harry Potter. It's a very famous haunted house, and you can stay there as a bed and breakfast. Love you guys. Ooh,
I want to stay there.
Cool.
So what town is it in?
Yeah, what town is that? Because I want to stay there.
Beth Foolery for $10. Look up the book Lost by Dwight McCarter. He was a park ranger in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and was SAR for some of the ones in the missing 411 cluster. I will look it up. Apuleius for $5. Gilgamesh is listed as a giant in the Book of Giants. Yes, which is common to the Sumerian kings list. Yes, check out the Lord of Spirits podcast giant episode. Lords of Spirits podcast. I will. Oh, sorry. I'm writing this down. It takes me a long time. I'm a fucker for $10. Lots of great haunted places here in Texas. Great hotel in Galveston, and you could stay in the rooms. Love the show, guys, and I love the idea of you guys doing an on-site. Do it live. Yes, we will.
I think there should be definitely some video aspects to this in the future. You know, you can't do something like a ghost hunt live in not all cases, but it would be good to go do something like that. Record, make a little package, and then present it to you.
Poopa Chalupa for $10.
Poopa Chalupa.
I must insist you watch Everything You Know Is Wrong by Lloyd Pye. I've already watched it. It's amazing. May he rest in peace, by the way. About an hour on YouTube. Half of it is about Bigfoot, and it ends with them tying them to the Anunnaki. Yeah, Lloyd Pye was awesome. The Political Nerd for $4.99. Hale found out I'm going to be a father for the first time. Woo! What's the best program to start making videos up for YouTube? I'd say find something simple. Camtasia is pretty simple.
I mean, Jeremy edited stuff on his phone, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of the just apps you could use.
Well,
anything free just to get your feet wet, you know.
Well, let's be real. It doesn't get more simple than Jeremy.
Yeah, well,
it's not simple, Jack. It's simple, Jeremy.
He's still on a webcam, probably.
Yeah. Crash 6674 for $5. My body dogs used during these. No body dogs used during these missing searches. Weird. Yes, there were, and quite often they wouldn't get sense. There was no sense. So that's something we forgot to mention. They cadaver dogs. Is that what you're talking about? And search dogs. Crash 6674 for $2. Kids need a GPS tracker. LOL. You're supposed to bring those too. The Grizzly for $5. You should look at the Michigan Dogma. They're not werewolves, but a race of wood people that are werewolf-like at the time, even in the day. Oh shit!
I got that on the list as well.
Bobcat $5. Most of the Bigfoot Yeti sightings in the Middle East are special forces. There's a reason they started around 1996. Oh, there you go. Crimes on Ghost on the Stream website for $5. Have you all been to the Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona? Yes. Wonderful place to visit, research, and laugh heartily at the planet having 12 years left. 8 now? 7? Yeah. No, it's crazy to see just rock wood. That's rock now, and it's all over the place. I love the Petrified National Forest. Peter Stowicki for $5. I've been all over the Southwest. It's my favorite part of America. I drive through it twice a year, 3 times a year. I used to visit it like twice a year. Love it. Love Vegas. Love Utah. Love New Mexico, Arizona. Arizona's beautiful. It's a beautiful state. People think it's just this barren. No. Arizona's awesome. Can't count votes for shit, but it's a beautiful state. Unknown 000 for $2. Check out Project Dark Knight for ghost stories on YouTube. Cool. Jacob Babrick, thank you for the $5 donation. I appreciate it. Basil 578 for $2. Hey Gary, when is the UK meetup this year? It is probably going to be in September. Okay. We're zeroing in on September as a month to go. I will be in Europe for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, 1 week of that will be meetup stuff. And another week and a half will be just me and my wife enjoying our 20th wedding anniversary about a month early. Shows like this are like a breath of fresh air. It says learn at home music for $1.99. Cheers. I appreciate that. James Esparza for $5. Check out the guys at America's Untold Stories for all things U.S. conspiracy, JFK, MTV.
MTV.
It's a big MTV. CIA. That's probably something else. FBI, Hollywood, LBJ, Mafia. Not just talk.
MK Ultra, maybe.
They got docs, yeah, and pics. I'll check it out. Fucking MTV.
Corrupting the minds of our youth.
CD Stein 69. Another guest you should get is author Troy Taylor. He's done research books and everything from Hollywood murders to the possession of in St. Louis. I know who Troy Taylor is. David Nelson, $4.99, or Vortex, and also check out Scotty's Castle. See you in Vegas. Manic Boy Productions for 2 Canadian pesos. A DB Cooper episode, maybe. They found a bunch of his money.
Yeah,
they found a bunch of his money. That
could be a cool one.
Yep, some kid found it. I think they're close. Didn't they find him, or they were close to finding him, or that always happens, and they're not sure. They found the Zodiac killer, so
they found him.
Yeah. Badger, a lot of, by the way, Zodiac, which they didn't get the killer right at the end, but that's such a good movie, dude. That's David Fincher's Zodiac.
Yes.
Fucking fantastic.
Robert Downey Jr., Jake Gyllenhaal. Fucking fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Beyond Creepy is another criminally underwatched channel, another name to put on the list. Beyond Creepy. That's a good name. MMM Martin 261 for $1.99. Me Too on JB Wells and Caravan of Midnight day 1. Yeah, freaking love. John B. Wells is beast. Guys, just great. And he's got one of the best radio voices of all time. Control Order Balance for $5 British pounds. He's in Texas too, by the way. He's a Texan. He's in Dallas.
Near me.
Thank you for the $5 British pounds. MMM Martin. I read that one. 3 Bear Thunder for $4.99. Y'all gonna get into Tartar conspiracies? Seen a lot of that lately on TikTok, and to my knowledge, it's just a blanket term for Mongols. I don't know. I have to look into that.
Tataria. I think that's what they mean.
Tataria. Yeah.
So that's Adam's friend, one of my friends here that I stream with, Andreas Exertus. He knows a lot about it, so we're gonna bring him on.
Yeah,
we're gonna bring one of those guests. He's on the list.
Giant the World Ender for $5. Check out the Lore Lounge on YouTube. They've got a theory about feral people, and I'm starting to believe it. There are feral people. They're all over San Francisco. There are feral people exist. They do.
Yeah.
You guys need to talk about Hillier documentary, caves, UFOs, Mothman. Famously, my wife and I, our second first date, because we knew each other when we were very young, and then spent about 8-9 years apart. then got back together, and I took her to the Mothman prophecies with Richard Gere. That was like,
yeah. Remember that movie?
Indrid, Cold, etc. All the high strangeness in Kentucky, West Virginia, part 3 this year. Oh, hell yeah. Alpius for $5. The Lord of Spirits podcast also has a monster manual episode where they talk about Jur-Alivok. What's that?
I think it's Alilovich.
So it's Yuri
Alilovich.
Alovich. So Yuri, the first recorded vampire in Croatia. Oh, fuck. I got to read that. I got to hear that.
What?
Bubba Doom for $5. Yeah. So it's Yuri Alivovic. Ivana sucky your blood. That's what he is. Bubba Doom for $5. Everybody, after the show, play Fadra, Nancy Sinatra, and Midnight in the Desert, Krista Gale in honor of art. Yes, I wish I could use that. Maybe when Garrett has a little extra time, we'll do bumper music for beginning and end, and we'll play Midnight in the Desert.
Oh yeah.
And Phaedra by Nancy Sinatra at the beginning. And maybe we'll do a little break with the Midnight Run Giorgio Moroder
in the middle. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Even though Coast to Coast still rips that off.
That's a good.
From the high desert,
good sound,
and across the nation. This is Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah, you gotta have good sounders, good bumps.
I'm in Pahrump, Nevada. I miss Art so much. Fuck George Noory. He's a fraud. He's a total fraud. He's a phony, and he fucked over John B. Wells. That's what I'm. Well, also Art Bell came out and said, "Yeah, the guy completely fucked me over," and they tried to like. See, Art, he liked his Filipino women. Okay, he did.
Hey, look, we all got our thing, man. You know?
He did, but they tried to like lay a lot of shit on him. You know, his kid got kidnapped by his like soccer or his basketball coach.
What?
And yeah, it's messed up
like,
to diddle him. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So Art had a problem that a lot of people had in the mid 2000s, and this is no conspiracy. This is true. The drug companies were bribing doctors to overprescribe OxyContin, Vicodin, and we had a massive OxyContin and Vicodin epidemic. And then the drug companies came in with Suboxone, the drug to treat the addiction. Took OxyContin and Vicodin. So it gets everybody hooked on Suboxone. You don't necessarily get high on it. It does make you high. There are side effects because I had to kick that shit. And it makes you puffy. It masks your emotions, any feelings. It's horrible. If closely treated and you're off it within 30 days, it can work, but it is so risky because you're treating addicts with something they'll get addicted to. So Art Bell got hooked on Vicodin and it killed him.
Man.
And sucks. It sucks. Fuck Pfizer. Sentinel Rex for $10. On watch at sea at night, I saw an orange light come from the water, travel a great distance, then return to the water. It wasn't a flare because it was too big and no smoke. When I reported, I was told to ignore. That's think about all the UFO reports we don't know about.
I'd love to see the files on that, the redacted files, government reports that they just don't want you to know. I'd love to see those.
And also, I'm open to recommendations for a good UFO site that reports on stuff daily, like a good one, not just, Bob's UFOs. Nothing against that, but I want a good one that I can go to reliably because I still think we need one of those. Maybe I'm missing it. And any ancient civilization websites, I am open to any suggestions on those as well. KF for $2. Listen to the War Mode podcast. You'd like it. No, I'll check it out. I'm a YouTube guy. Haven't really gone in the podcast sphere, but apparently we're doing really well on Spotify, so well that they reached out to me. So I didn't know that. I'm like, when the guy called me, he's like, I'm from Spotify. I want to talk to you about some stuff. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
cool.
So he's all, we wanted to get some of our prominent creators. I'm all, well, are you just telling me that? Are you just like talking to like rando people? Or because I have no way of knowing, like, I'm all, where can I go check my analytics? And he's all, you signed up for something, you could check your analytics. I'm all, I did. So apparently I did.
Where is it?
Where is it?
I would like to see.
I found it, but I haven't checked the analytics yet. But he said we do really well on Spotify.
That is great.
Yeah. So everybody watching and listening on Spotify.
Thank you so much.
You will be able to watch. We're going to have to use their aggregate site. And I forgot. It's like Anchor. It's called Anchor. Don't forget
Anchor. Okay. Yeah, I know Anchor.
We got to use Anchor. And starting March 8th, there will be video on Spotify, and we will upload all our video. The Happy Plague Doctor for $5. Sergeant Tompkins captured a Vimana after defeating a Cyclops in Afghanistan. What? Email me that one. Trucker Rob for $5. This is the last one. Just a reminder that we got another chapter of the Gilgamesh story before we got the Winds of Winter. That is true. That is true. I tweeted that. I did. They found
That's
another
so true.
chapter to fucking Gilgamesh. That is so funny. Oh, okay.
That's funny.
Garrett, what you doing besides fixing up my video?
Tonight, I'm fixing up your video, and we're going to release it tomorrow. All right? Yep. So it's our review for Ant-Man.
It
and
is.
The Wasp, Quantum Dumb Crap. That is really shitty.
Craptomania.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to look at some more Ant-Man. Again, it's such a dumb movie. It's just really, it really is. It's like I wish I never watched it. It's not even, like, for me, it wasn't even the worst movie I ever saw. It was just so boring and nothing. Ugh. But anyways, if you want to go watch me play some Hogwarts Legacy, play some Phasmophobia, next week we're going to play Sons of the Forest.
So excited for that.
Yes, yes, yes. Follow me on my Rumble or my YouTube channels. And I also have Locals, so if you're over on Locals, for all the great creators that are over there, I am also there. So go join up. Thank you.
Sounds good.
It was a great show. This is a great show.
It was a great show.
Very informative.
Excellent. Girl, what you got coming up?
I have Witcher 3, which I know you're so excited to get back into.
Well, yeah, I didn't know there was that many Bobs in it. There was
a
Bobs
lot.
everywhere.
Oh my god, I was
There's
shocked.
a lot of mobs.
There's a lot of
Lots
Bobs
of Bobs.
in that game. I'm
We
like,
were
well, I
in
gotta
a
get back to the
sauna.
Witcher. There ain't gonna be no Bobs in Hogwarts Legacy.
Nope. Well, I mean, they're mostly.
Well, they'll be on a dude. Az will like that. But.
Oh. But so I get my new PC back from the shop, and I'm going to do my evil run on Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh.
So follow me on YouTube, Locals, Rumble, and you'll find me playing games there. Puzzles will come back once that PC comes back, because I had to bring the one that was upstairs down here to make do. So it'll come back eventually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. The live stream schedule is going to be a little wacky since we got a game. Since we have a video coming out tomorrow, I'm going to probably have to like live stream early, and then we'll release the video.
Yeah.
Or I'll just cancel the live stream. It depends on how late I stay up tonight, to be honest with you. Then there's the real BBC, which will be on Az's channel or mine. I can't even remember. I think it's our channel. So there won't be any.
It's on Nerdrotic.
So anytime there is a BBC on my channel, we don't do the nooner on Monday. When there isn't a BBC, we do the nooner on Monday. So this Monday we'll just have a video, then real BBC. I'm thinking I can sneak in the nooner with Chris Gore before I leave. Then I'm hitting the road. One thing we're going to do is Melissa's going to read me super chats for a square up while we're on the road. So we're going to make that part of our square up. I got some other stuff recorded.
Nice.
But we're going to try to do that live. If it turns out to be shit, then we'll just record it and send it to you to put it up. But yeah, Melissa, because it's, freaking hours, man. So like, let's do some square ups, man. It'll be fun on the road. I can highly recommend Star Trek Picard season 3. If you are a Star Trek fan, if you hate Kurtzman Trek, however you feel about that, try to wipe it out of your mind. If you can't, I understand. But it was. I am currently on my second viewing of it, and I am having fun with it. It is enjoyable. It is not woke.
It's crazy.
It's not. It is TNG in the TOS movie universe. You know
That
what I
would make
mean?
me
That's
wanna
the
watch
aesthetic of it. That's the
Okay.
aesthetic of it. So they're trying to do. It's like Red Letter Media made a great analogy. It's Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Undiscovered Country for the TNG crew. They're not breaking any new ground. They're just like, this is for fans because the person who made this knew this was probably the only chance to really give the Star Trek fans what they deserve within the confines of some shit. And I really enjoy it. I never thought I'd be saying this. I never, ever, ever thought I'd be saying this.
That is so crazy. I watched the first episode. I liked it. I'm a TNG fan, and I didn't watch any of the Kurtzman shit. I went straight into this first episode, and I dig it.
There is such a treat towards the end. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, don't. I want to savor it.
Just a treat.
But I'm not going to give him money.
Ooh.
I'm not doing that.
No. I would
money.
say it's the analogy would be you're getting a Star Trek dessert. It's not the greatest dessert ever made, but it's one you haven't had in a long time, and it's very satisfying. That's it.
All right.
So, and again, if you say F Kurtzman Trek, I'm not going to blame you for that. But all we can be is honest, and it was good. I liked it. It would be so much easier for me to shit on it. It would be easier and way more. I would make bank off of shitting on it, but I would have made bank off of shitting on House of the Dragon too. But unfortunately, that would require lying, which I'm not going to do. So we'll be back. I think you guys should do a show without me if I'm not here next week.
Oh, no way. I don't think the chat would like that. I don't think we would like that. We got to have Gary. All right. You're the heart.
No, I think you would do fine without me because I'll be in San Diego for the weekend, and I might be going to Nick Recada's meetup. Well, we'll let you know because I live life. I'm a leaf on the wind, man. I change my plans all the time. So, so we'll see. But if not, we'll definitely be back in 2 weeks. And we are going to be more subject based. And I would say that the next month, X-Ray Girl, we could probably start getting some guests. You think?
Yeah, I have an insanely long list of topics, guest recommendations, and even stuff you guys have told us to look into. So,
yep.
So, guys, we thank you, everyone in the chat, for your support. We thank the Nerdrotics. We thanks to everyone who left a super chat and donation. You keep this show going. We are open to sponsors and having this maybe even someday exclusively on something like Rumble or, so where we can just speak completely freely.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. But for now, it's going to be here. We are going to eventually have a dedicated channel for this, dedicated website. Those are like a year down the road. I got to get my own website going first.
Yeah. We're working on that.
We're working on nerdrotic.com. That's why I haven't gone to locals or anything like that. A lot of people have asked, and it's because I'm doing my own thing. Thank you very much. So all that will change someday. But again, totally grateful that you allow us to do this. This is my dream job, this thing right here. And this is the one thing I'll be doing till the day I die. So thank you. And we'll see y'all next week. Ciao.
See you later, travelers.
bye.
That's a good send off. I like that. Did you end it?
Oh, I thought you were doing it. I didn't want to double it.
Doing it.
All right. Love you.